Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Master Circuit Grand Finals Day. We get hyped today because this is it. It's the culmination of all that these players have worked for, from the open signups at compete.playstation.com to now, where they are broadcast and cast by Rain Day, myself, and Girl, and a broadcast in front of all channels PlayStation to see who will claim the top place and those elusive but exclusive PS5s for their efforts. I am so excited to be here, and I mentioned it before briefly, but we'll mention it a little bit more now. Girl is joining with me. Girl, you gotta be feeling the excitement in the room.
I'm so excited. When there's so much on the line, there's so much pressure, there's so much going into this, there's so much energy and passion. I just can't wait to watch our game number one, but I'm super glad to be here. It's going to be a Storm Point day. It's going to be a good day.
It's always a good day when it's a Storm Point day, in my opinion at least. I love watching that map competitively. Let us know what you think in the chat as well on all of the channels that you may be watching, and show some love to the show by tweeting at us. We may respond to them throughout the show or answer some questions during some downtime. But let's take a look at, for those who might be joining us for the first time, what you can expect here, because it is our grand final, so things have shifted up a little bit in terms of our prizing, but the format, the overall way it's played, should be pretty similar if you've watched competitive Apex before. We've got teams of trios. This isn't duos, this isn't solos. It's up to 20 teams as well, so our lobby, not predetermined, depends on the qualifiers, depends on our pre-qualifier heading into this, but we should get close to that for a grand finals day because everyone wants to play for what they're playing for today. Only difference, maybe 5 games instead of 6 that you might be used to, but it's not about how many games, Girl, it's what you do in those games.
Yeah, so you get a little bit of a shorter amount of time, but this is the point system that'll grant you the points you need to get those PlayStations, to get those cash prizes there at the top. So for first place, you're going to get 12 points. For second place, you're going to get 9 points. Third place, you're going to get 7 points. For fourth place, you will get 5 points. For fifth place, you will get 4 points, and so on. So the faster you die, the less points you will achieve, but the more eliminations you get will grant you 1 point for each kill. So if you have a big kill game, you could net yourself back at the top of the leaderboard if you fall behind here today.
And those points, they all lead to getting you at the top of that leaderboard, as Girl mentioned, which will do what for you? Give you the money you're looking for, $1,500 for first place. Second place grabbing $1,200. Third and fourth, not too shabby as well, with $975, leading all the way down to 17th and 20th, getting at least $150. So everyone who's qualified here will get something for their efforts. I love that PlayStation Tournaments has put that into the way we give our prizing out. But check out that bottom piece, that asterisk right there. What a great word, too, asterisk. First and second place will each receive a PS5. And that's not 2 PS5s. It's not 3 PS5s. It's 12 PS5s over the course of the day, because we've got 2 regions we're playing. So we're giving away 12 PS5s, 3 each for first and second for both regions. What a day, Girl. I know that has got people drooling online, and I'm sure our players as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And over the past few weeks, there has been qualified teams, and these are the teams that have made it and earned their way into the finals today. So we've got Abuchin, AXFF, Baguette LF, Clippers, Deja Vu, El Locos, FMA Titans, GB, God Trio, Hakims, RGB, Koopy, PMB, Red Fade, Shadow Points, Sikeli, TXC, Vibe Cats, Team Aqua, Viper Squadron, and the infamous We Don't Play. So those are the teams that have made it here today. We are in for a treat of a lot of great gameplay today. As we've seen in prior tournaments, the Master Finals is always the toughest. It always starts off the slowest. Everyone's nerves are here. There's just so much on the line. The pressure's on, but I'm just so excited to watch them play.
And it's not even just the nerves, too. It is slower in a way where you see these teams not necessarily competing in the earlier weeks with a full lobby. So sometimes they're used to 11 or 12 teams, and they can take whatever pace they want. Some better teams go at squads. Now they respect their opponents, because if anyone has gotten here, they've done a lot. And it all started at compete.playstation.com. That's where they signed up to be here. So if you want to be a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, someone who just loves PlayStation and plays a lot of competitive games, just jump on, see what there is. There might be an opportunity that lights the fire inside of you and your friends that you want to compete in, and you will have the opportunity to do so, earn some cash prizes. And if not, hey, at least you know when our tournaments are coming along, as we have a Master Circuit finishing today, but we got another one starting. Season 3 will be happening towards the end of the year. We're very excited. We announced that yesterday on Dropping In, our premier kind of game podcast show that Girl and I do each month, recapping the Master Circuit and Apex Legends. But exciting things ahead, Girl, as we get ready to kind of jump into Game 1 here and kick off this Grand Finals. What are you looking forward to? What are your thoughts for the day heading into it?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing the pace that it runs through. Normally it starts off slow and ends off maybe fast, or maybe there's a lot of pressure there at the last and final game to see like those top 3 contenders go at it for the top 2 spots. I'm also excited to see what legends are going to be played today. We know in the Master Circuit there's been a lot of G7 scouts, mid to long range, especially on Storm Point, right? But I'm actually really excited to see the variety of legends being played today, and that's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, I wonder what we're going to look at, because, we've been seeing Season 14 launch with Vantage in front of the screen. When you open up your PlayStation and you're just seeing that new character, it has been yet to really be showcased much here in the competitive side of things. So will this be the day that somebody has practiced a Vantage comp, brings it out? It would be a good time to do it because, we had talked about this earlier. You kind of got to burn your ships here in a competition like this. And that old adage that basically goes, when you show up to battle, whether you're crossing the seas and you land and you see the enemy in front of you, if you have your ships behind you still, there's a part of you that thinks, well, if things get bad, we'll just retreat. But some great commanders, they burn those ships. And although it's a little scary, the troops know, you know what? We've got to win this thing. There's no going home. We just got to push through. And that's what I think great teams bring to championship days. And, Girl, I hope we see that today, whether it's with Vantage or whether it's some other type of incredible performance there in first place.
Yeah, absolutely. We will see everyone put their all into this. There's no other day to do it but now, unless you want to wait a few months for the next one. So hopefully everyone is prepared, everyone's excited, everyone's eating well. The thing about esports, right, is not only do you have to be prepared like in-game wise, but you have to prepare yourself physically and mentally outside. There's just so much that goes into competition. You have to be having a good day. You have to be feeling that energy. If your team's vibes are off, your gameplay might be off. So props to these teams for competing and making it here.
It's one of the things you understand. You just competed in a tournament just recently, and you had a great day. You had a great moment that went viral. For those who don't know, Girl popped off winning one of the games at a TSM Invitational. And ultimately, Girl, part of it is that you got to be in the right feel for those moments to happen. As we kind of take a little bit of a look as Game 1 starts to happen, will these players find themselves in the right feel, the right mojo, as Austin Powers might have said back in the day? I might be dating myself there, but I hope not. Hope people watching have seen Austin Powers. If not, go do it as we kick off game number 1 in our grand finals. What a time to be alive here as a PlayStation Tournaments fan.
Yeah, so we're going to see a contest, maybe a Cenote Cave. We're going to see them split it 50-50 over there. We're going to see one team go Barometer, a couple teams going Shipfall, perhaps. Maybe Gale Station. I think Matty Fonzie is stretching it all the way there. We've got one team at Mill, that meaning that Down Beast is going to be 50-50 as well. So it seems like everyone's got their eyes on a drop spot, but there's going to be a lot of contests. Now, what do you think about this map? Do you think it's big enough for 20 teams?
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing. I love the way this map caters to size, and I think, of course, being maybe 15-20% bigger than World's Edge, it's the perfect type of map. If you're not wanting to have that clutter, you still have the space, you still have a lot of areas that you can maneuver without being contested. But right now, it's not really the way AXFF team are feeling, because, of course, they chose Down Beast, which is, this is a big kind of POI that has pretty decent loot, a lot of areas to play in, so there's naturally going to be several teams around this area. But yeah, Girl, I like it. What about you?
So personally, when I competed a little bit, this map actually was my least favorite when I first started competing, because It is a big map, but it has less POIs, and it forces teams to either land in no-name positions or they 50-50 contest off drop. And I feel like if you just have a 50-50 contest, your odds of winning are a lot lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's the contest. They get the trade-off. AXFF are put into a 2v2 situation, I think, with Viper Squadron. So here we go. Oh, the alternator's so good off drop. Dominus goes down. Dave's put in a 1v1, and they win it. Viper Squadron was our first team eliminated here today in the finals. Unfortunate. They do have the gold bag, though. Dave is going to res everyone at half health.
That's great stuff there. Obviously, being able to get your teammates up a little easier and with more efficiency. It's really more resource management too, because you talk about the 50-50 scroll. I mean, that's the biggest problem when you go into it. Why does it put you at such a disadvantage? Well, two main reasons, right? I mean, it's time, but it's also the resources that you're wasting, not only in the fight, but you're splitting all of a sudden. So you're not only getting 50% of the split, you're now basically coming out with maybe 25% overall of what was there at that POI, because you used half of your meds to fight that other team and hopefully survive.
Yeah, exactly. And then the resources are a bit lower, your rotation's a bit slower. You know, even though you might be as good as any other team in the lobby, just having that 50-50 RNG fight just changes the complete outcome, unless you're a 100% better and you can win every fight and pick up all those kill points, because over 5 games, that's a lot of kill points to rack up. It just depends where the zone pulls. Fortunately for the Down Beast team, they don't have far to go. They're actually already in this next zone. Don't believe that they have a beacon, but here we are with shadow points. Double blue and a white. All depends on the POI as well. Some POIs you leave with some blues. Some POIs you leave with some purples. So it's a little bit about luck at that point. But you could utilize the map to your advantage. You could go do spiders, you could go do prowlers. Those are different ways that you could level up your Evo shields, or you can focus on picking up long range weapons so you could poke at other teams and level up those Evos as you go. Looks like they're trying to go for a Valk ult. Yep, they are. They were just finding the right spot. If there are some objects right above them, they won't be able to do it. So they found the right spot, and they're going to make that rotation.
Shadow Point's one of our teams that qualified in week 2 of season 2, and they actually didn't show up for week 3 or 4, I believe. And so that is going to be an interesting story for them. Can they kind of take that approach and make the most of it? We know there's other teams like Baguette who show up for everything, and they basically have won more in the regular season earnings than actually in the grand finals, which historically in season 1 they were unable to do. And we had a chance to kind of kick that conversation off again with Taylor the other day, girl. Nice little, really highlight of what they've been able to do as a team. Obviously looking to change that narrative today and take first place. But they're going to have to get through a lot of teams who are vying for that exact same position, especially if we don't play.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Matty Fonzie might end up in a fight there. Actually, a few teams getting quite close to one another. FMA and White Wool. That's Koopy. Oh no, one of them goes down immediately off the bat. They're going to have to retreat as they have the low ground. That's Raymond. That's TXC. Sarah Sutcliffe coming on in. Their new third, Shiu, gets that entry knock. Perfect by
Sarah
them.
Taking a break, it seemed like, away from TXC in one of the earlier qualifiers. Not sure if Sarah was just not able to play. We did see her in the chat. And of course, we talked to Sarah on our Dropping In performance podcast kind of show. And it's been great to get to know her a little bit more. TXC, though, definitely with Shagoon. Can they do something extraordinary? They've always been close, girl. I think that's kind of the history of this team. They've been nearly there almost all the time. So what do you do? Do you make some type of drastic adjustment because you haven't gotten the final, or do you just say, hey, you know what, this is going to be our year. We're going to keep doing what we do, and we'll make it work this grand finals?
Well, they did get a new third, so that is a drastic adjustment in itself that they're going to have to practice with them to perform better and teach each other their strats and their skills. But honestly, you're right. They have been in our top 4, top 5 consistently, even top 3, but they haven't quite made it there into our top 2 or top 1. So exciting to see what they can pull off today. The challenges they face continue to get harder as they improve. Everyone else is also improving. So, you know, it could be a 50-50 whether they make it here today or not.
Well, game 1 already in our second circle, 15 seconds moving in. We've got Clippers, a team I love. Pioneered the Newcastle, now going more traditionally with what the meta has told us works. This might just be the shift that they needed. Jazz, Z-Stereo, and Cheka pushing up on what they looks to them as to be fresh meat. Around the corner, there's already one down, looking for the second and third. That'll just be a nice clean finish. Grab some of those meds, get a little bit more ammo for the rest of the squad. Don't worry about the other members of that team in just a moment as we transition to Vicats on our screen. Big EMP coming as well. We all know the EMP usually stands for trouble because not too far beyond that is Baguette, especially because Perry Terranez loves to play that crypto. But we also know that that also can be a team that, like we spoke to the other day, girl, really pioneering the crypto with Taylor. You know, having the ability to kind of play off what is not typically seen as an aggressive legend, but having the IGL coming from the Valkyrie, playing aggressive and coordinating his pushes with that crypto, you can see it's just worked really, really well for them. And right here, Baguette inside, they were able to stave off that offensive push.
Yeah, they're doing great here, holding the other team off. But I think the other team got a reset as well, if I'm not mistaken. It's nice to see Obelix on another legend as well. Used to be that Gibraltar main, now onto the Horizon aggressive comp that they've got going on. They do have quite a distance to rotate. I feel like they're just gatekeeping this beacon so no one else can scan and get knowledge. But are they going to stay here or are they going to continue to rotate? They did get that one thirst. So they're just going to scout for now. Oh, they might be banner camping, making sure that their opponents do not get that recovery. Quite possible.
Baguette LF starting off pretty strong here. Not too many kills so far to the name, but they have figured out what they need to do to win, and that is the difference. Will they be able to take over again in 5 games, not 6, and not let teams like We Don't Play crush their dreams at the beginning? That is what is so crucial to this, and it all starts with having a good game 1. Getting off to a great start can be so important, girl, for these teams. It really is a big boost, not only just, you know, statistically getting the weight off your shoulders, but mentally too, right? Just being able to say, all right, we know what we're doing. We just did it. All we got to do is a little bit more of that.
Yeah, and as we were talking about earlier, it has been going so very slow. There's still 18 squads left. The zone is pulling northwest of the map, near down Beast area. Could pull into checkpoint potentially. Could pull down even towards Mill. We've yet to find out. Red Fade was eliminated at our 18th place squad. GB as a duo. They're playing Watson, they're playing Edge, and they're playing Loba, so they have enough resources to stay alive. They see a respawn, but they're not going to go for it. I think they're just going to hold their ground, especially as a duo. Maybe if they were a trio, they could have pushed off of that. But oh, look, they caught someone coming in from the zone. 60 damage. Got to hit your shots here. Oh, they did end up getting a kill. Riot Zone's going to go in close and try and find that third. Are they going to push up from their building, or are they just going to chill over here? They got kill point potential. Yeah.
Maybe that's why, girl, just realizing that, you know, we don't have that many to really rock this. And, you know, we'll take the long range, but we'll play safe. And, you know, every point tends to matter. I mean, obviously, because also the scaling, once you're past 17th, you start earning more money in this type of tournament, right? So you know, 3 points here, 4 points there, you know, 12 points at the end of the day. That might push you into 16th or something. That's cash they're playing for. So obviously having to, not the best start, but they've got a Loba and a Watson. Did I speak too soon? They just got a Watson now. Loba taken down from some far away fighting, and now you can tell it is not looking good for Volden, who's going to be walking away from that one. It is now Baguette LF on the run, who circumventing the circle on the bottom right side of things. Getting a little scout out from Perry.
Yeah, they do a great job at seeing the potential that they can get off of the map, and here you see a GB eliminated. They get that kill point. They get all of the loot around here as well. They're just going to scout around to see if any Scablanders have left the field. They don't see anyone so far, but they're going to continue to play edge zone. There is one solo nearby, but I think it'll be quite hard to spot that solo out, and they should have a bit of a safe rotation on in. The thing is as they rotate in, there's not much cover to be played, so curious to see how that ends up playing out later on.
You know, they don't really have that usual understanding of are people rotating or are people hiding, like we have seen in this meta be so prevalent because of the fact that they're not running a seer. So it's something they're giving up for the crypto, but you know, if that rat is nearby, they're not going to be able to see it in the way that it's just almost become like commonplace. Like, rats don't exist. That's not a strategy anymore. Some seer, when they get close enough, will just eventually find you with their Heartseeker passive. And right now, Cheka doing some nice dodge moves there just to get out of that focus of attention, continuing on the chase for Clippers. I like the form that they seem to be in. Very confident, pushing these fights. That's a dangerous sign for the rest of the lobby.
Oh, it sure is. And here near down Beast, there might be a 3v3 happening. Titans down to 1. Versha trying to play his life. He's got the bubble. He's got the bubble to play around. He's going for the punch even. Can he get an armor swap? Might be hard. It might be empty. His shots are hitting everything, but he's by himself. And that's FMA Titans eliminated. And look at look at the death recap. We Don't Play was eliminated. FMA Titans was eliminated. Koopy was eliminated. We Don't Play have won 3 out of 4 of our qualifiers, so that's going to be huge for the competition here today, and that's going to be so heartbreaking for them their fans.
Massive moments there for sure. Girl bringing it into a clarity. The We Don't Play going down has got the lobby shifting dramatically on its head. A big moment there. Caught off screen, but on screen, maybe the biggest story now. Baguette knows that they have clear carte launch to be able to get as many points as possible and distance themselves from what would most likely be their second competitor for the top. AXFF team, 2 on a great spot. I love this height on down Beast. You just get so many nice angles, and it's also very, very hard for a skyward dive to push you unless you are caught up in too many things as that circle's closing and, you know, miss someone landing. But typically, this is a very, very hard spot to have someone take you out of, and this is where the game is ending.
Yeah, I played here the other day, and the only thing that could happen is getting pushed from both sides and kind of squeezed and pinched. But take a look at the map. The zone is ending directly on top of them. I don't know which way it's going to pull right afterwards, but they've got about 60% of the area just on top of that down beast alone. So they are in a great spot to win this whole thing.
Really interesting, too, dynamic of how Taylor and also Cheka, so members of Baguette and Clippers, pushing kind of 30 degrees away from each other, but still going to be fighting on their horizons. So pushing their kind of right horizontal and their left horizontal. Those teams don't have a lot of cover in between. 2 big fighting teams right there. Will they come into a clash as they're playing edge, whereas AXFF team, TXC, electing to play above and underneath what looks to be the place that the game is ending. 4 rounds have gone by. 5 seconds before we kick off round 5, and you could tell too that the tension is rising in this. Setups are going on, and I believe Obelix and Baguette, they've already tried to find and kind of take this space behind what is Watson fenced up in this building in front of them. And Perry's going to be able to do a couple of things here. Not only get the scout, but if they want to go ahead and push that and destroy those fences, that drone is going to be so good for it.
Yeah, so luckily they're outside of the building, but they aren't safe. If the other team ends up pinching them and putting them in a corner, they're not going to be able to deal well to fend them off, especially with this team on the high ground that's going to be looking at them. So they're like, do we fight or do we not fight? Looks like Tail is trying to get aggressive, trying to get angles, trying to ensure that the other team doesn't push out on top of them. But we're already down to 8 squads left. They're safe for now, but let's take a look at this zone pull. Where did it pull? It didn't pull that far away from them, just to the other building. And in that other building, guess who has got it? It's Fake Taxi 2G as a solo. Okay, Fake Taxi is going to leave and try and find another rat spot. So that is going to be a safe building to try and enter, but they're going to go for this 3v3. He's going to go in for the entry. 1 down. Taylor's going to go for 2. 2 down. They've only got 1 left to kill. He's on 50 HP. I think this is going to be a clean team wipe here. No, they're just going to let him go. They're going to heal up. They're going to play this one safe. But that other building currently is untaken. There's no one in that home.
Rent increase and inflation caused the solo to get up out of that one. Said, I can't afford this by myself. I don't have enough teammates or roommates in that matter. So it's going to be free for our Baguette squad to move in if they want to, but still a lot more to deal with because, of course, the team on high still looking down below like those fish in a barrel, trying to go to a crawl so that exhibit from Sear does not pick up the movement. Now going to continue sprinting. That's just a nice little bit of awareness to not give off any information they don't need to give off up top. But Z Stereo underneath are also going to be fighting under down B. So you can see it here. We've got Clippers, we've got TXC, and we've got Baguette all around. And right now, AXFF team is making it terrible for TXC. It's Raymond who has fallen down. That might just be Sarah who has to fall too. And it is TXC looking very, very abysmal here in this position. And it's really all AXFF team, like you mentioned, playing spoiler to them in their rotation.
Dave is dangerous. Those 1 clips were just beaming. He did not miss a single shot, and that's just the great thing of having God spot, having that 1 spot that rains down over everyone else, and he took advantage of it, and he netted himself and his squad a couple more kills. So this is going to be great for them. I don't believe they're going to have the zone after this closes in, so they might have to move off of height. We're about to find out. PMB was eliminated. 5 Cats was eliminated. We're down to 5 squads left.
It's going to be hard to get AXFF team off this girl as well. And I think this may be the team to really look at. We've got teams below and in the buildings, right? We've got Baguette. Cannot forget them. But we've also got Clippers underneath AXFF. So as much as this spot is good now, it's going to force them to drop. When and how do they drop? And who contends with a good EMP from Perry? That, to me, is what I think is maybe the ability, the moment that can turn the tide for Baguette. Not only do they have space to kind of hold for a while, but they're going to really be able to destroy somebody's plans here, both literally and figuratively, with a perfectly timed EMP. But 15 seconds before we get there, and the fireworks start.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. We've got 1 team on high ground, 1 team on low ground, right under them in down B's. We've got Baguette in the building, but we've also got Color Bucket, King Stefan, and Crystal right behind them. So they might play spoiler on Baguette. Could be. We've got 1 solo member of TXC just ratting. Can they rat to 4th place? It would be huge. It would be a point, but it's going to be tough. Color Bucket's going to play the back end of Baguette's building, which is what Baguette did earlier against that other team.
Right, the Bangalore Valkyrie too, and it's just an interesting thing. Baguette is not excited about this, truly, because now it's just somebody who's at their back, and obviously they were having the zone at their back, being able to play forward. Now they got to worry about both sides at the same time, and that is just really a problem. But it's actually going to be Color Bucket who decides to jump up into the air, and that allows Baguette, most likely Perry or Taylor, to get a couple of shots off from below. They know they've got to deal with the team AXFF, who's on high, trying to gatekeep them as well. But look down below. It's Cheka, it's Jazz, it's Z Stereo holding that gateway too. These teams are going to clash. Shugum holding for TXC, a big deal for them. If Shugum can somehow stay alive and grab top 4, that would be massive for their points and just for their morale right there, and it is. It will be Shigum still alive there. He'll grab a top 4, and now it's just 3. Clippers, AXFF, and Baguette fighting from above and below, and last Dave, he falls. Has to throw that black hole as well, girl. He's gonna throw Arc Star too, but the shielding has to come through, and I think Dave is gonna get it. What can he do here? Beautiful showcase of movement, and I think they're gonna stand on the high ground too. He kicks off Z-Stereo, and with the vault gets a kill. Are you kidding me? Dave from AXFF team can't pull off the miracle, but he almost did enough. Bravo, and I believe that is Baguette who claimed game number 1 in our grand finals.
Wow, what an amazing end zone. They did have that God spot building. They had the advantage there, but it actually looked like AXFF actually had the advantage in 1 second. Too bad Obelix ended up going down and they weren't able to net themselves a win, but they did get so many kills. I'm actually curious to see who actually did come out on top in terms of points, because AXFF had so many kills, Baguette LF also had so many kills, and they netted the win. So excited to see the statistics after that game. That was a wild one.
It really was, and I mean, just showcase after showcase. It kind of, like you said, was a slow burner from the beginning of the game, and you know, even watching some of this back as we have a chance to look at some of the recaps of what happened in game 1, it didn't start off like a blazing fire, but it certainly ended like that. And I think AXFF team, they kind of rode the narrative for me, having the best spot in the game, making sure that they got what they needed from that best spot. It's like, the way I think of it is like, girl, okay, say you're given a great opportunity, right? You don't want to squander that opportunity where maybe, hey, this could have been $1 million opportunity. You know, you sleep in, you don't work hard on it. Maybe it turns into like, oh, it's just another job and you didn't take advantage of it. Having a God spot, you know, Dave made that into a 2nd place after some great kills. I think that's what you kind of need from a God spot. Top 2 are winning the game.
I can't believe he got that kickoff too. That was
sweet.
Yeah, that was very clean, and I wouldn't even have thought of that. That was a bit dangerous. Wouldn't even gotten shot. But that solo had a great position as well. So props to them for netting themselves 3rd place as well. Very nice and clean fights for Versha alone here, and wasn't able to kill them off. But he did so much damage utilizing this bubble. We Don't Play ended up going down at that moment. We saw that. So they're going to come in fiery in this next game, perhaps. Baguette LF choosing to push this building, not even going for that God spot building just yet. They choose to eliminate the team that's going to eventually have to push them, which was a really smart play by them. AXFF, they took every advantage and hit every shot here. Very well done.
And it was all AXFF team from the beginning to the end on downed beast. They decided to stand upon the beast that had been conquered. Usually a good plan in most of these situations. Certainly was here. Did maybe Dave get a little ahead of himself? No, not really, because he had 8 kills, 3 assists, but this was the moment right here. Lands and gets the kick, and then continues the fight. And why was that so important? The spacewalk passive of Horizon means that as Seer falls, he gets this kind of knockdown reset of being able to take a little like stutter and then continue fighting. And Horizon's passive specifically maintains her momentum and doesn't stutter her as she lands, so gives him the advantage of winning that 1v1. Beautiful play there. Great start to the day, but of course it was Baguette who would claim the victory. And after talking to Taylor yesterday, girl, this is a heck of a victory. Nearly a 20-kill game.
I underestimated the amount of kills Baguette netted themselves. I thought AXFF might have more kills than them, but this is incredible. 21% accuracy, 19% accuracy, 20% accuracy. Very high amount of accuracy. Taylor came to win it with that 2,000 damage. We all know him as the entry fragger. They played so well, and immediately they played the edge of the zone, and then they played God Spot. I don't know how they done it. They just by brute force. They chose where they wanted to go, and they fought for every single place on their way in, and they won every fight. So it's a hard team to come up against and to compete against.
It really is. Definitely a very difficult kind of grouping, and it's not just the fact that they're all individually talented. They play really well together. And one of the teams that notably Taylor, Baguette, Perry, and Obelix were worried about is we don't play. Guess where they were? Not playing. Unfortunately, they died at about 12th place, and I believe that has set up Baguette to really have a strong start, putting themselves 24 points ahead of we don't play, but also first in the entire lobby over AXFF team, who have 22. A great second-place performance, though, from them.
Yeah, it really showed who our strongest contenders were. TXT did a great job as well. Unfortunately, they got clipped from above. Clippers as well, we've seen them throughout that game being aggressive, trying to take as many fights as they could, but unfortunately, they were just in the wrong spot. They had to rotate a bit of a distance, and it's really hard to rotate towards down Beast when all the spots are already taken. So it was a great fight from those 4 teams.
Whew. I feel like nerves are out, for game 1. It was a great kind of ending. I felt like everyone actually started pretty on task there. That was pretty impressive to me. And, there's obviously some improvement for our bottom half of the lobby as Vibe Cats, Shadow Points, Koopy, teams we have seen throughout this Viper Squadron, who's joined us in our grand finals and throughout our weekly Master Circuit days. This is a great opportunity for them to put some points on the board in games 2 through 5, try to make a run for that prizing, and also just finish off a great season, because it's more than just the prizing, girl. It's about the confidence you have in your team. It's about finishing what you started, and it's also about having something to work on for next season. It's really tough to work on 0 points, 0 kills, and 0 eliminations. But what is great to work on is, hey, 8th, 9th, 13th, because it's just really one adjustment that goes from 13th to 8th, and then from 8th to 5th, and from 5th to 1st, 2nd, right? So I think these teams definitely want to give themselves that opportunity. So we'll be seeing how they perform here in game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, some of the teams did struggle off drop, having that 50-50, as we were talking about earlier. They're really good teams, but do they want to contest another very good team, or is it better to just pick a different place and fight a team that you're going to win every single time against? So you might have to rethink your strategy going forward, or you fight for that place and dominate and get better so that you could have that same position, that same POI for next season. There's always the short term, and then there's always the big picture as well. So it all depends on what they're thinking of going into this.
You got to balance both of those things, because they equally impact you, and you can't give up the short term for only the long term, and you can't give up your long term to just only satisfy your short-term thinking. So you've got to kind of play some difference. Maybe it's, hey, let's see what happens game 2. Let's go for it again. Let's get aggressive. Let's give this a try, and let's do our best. Let's have confidence. If it doesn't work, we'll switch it up game 3. And I think that may be where we'll see some of these teams lean. But it's harder to do that on the fly, especially when you come into a game with a plan. And we see this in professional sports more often, I think, because you have a coach. I think what happens is a lot of times when you are, and especially myself too, right? Our coach, when we were playing soccer, or at UCLA, or national team game, or whatever that is, you go into a plan because you watch tape, you know what that team looks like. But then all of a sudden, you watch the first half, and you're like, this player on the right side is kicking our butt, right? They're all free down the right side. So now what do we have to do? We have to change what we thought we had to do coming into it, and we're going to put a different player on that left flank. We're going to open up, some of our space in the back and put offensive pressure there so that player can't get more aggressive. I think that's the challenge with players who are buddies and maybe don't have a coach, don't have the infrastructure of pro sports yet, to who's going to have that conversation, right, girl? Like, how do you manage that when you don't have a coach with you? You're playing in tournaments like this, and you go, we got to make an adjustment, but it's almost like someone else would be helpful to give us some accountability and like a different perspective than us who are just like in it, doing the plays ourselves.
I'm going to be honest with you. I could have definitely used a coach when I competed or in tournament scenarios, but something that I do on a daily basis, aka when I play ranked, is when I live stream, I can go into the VODs, I can have discussions and conversations, rewatch what went down and improve from there. But when you're in a tournament situation, first of all, you're on a delay. You might not have like a VOD readily available. You don't have anyone there to really tell you, or some people might be scared to give you any advice just because you're in that tournament setting. So
they're scared of you?
Yeah, I mean.
Wow, I always knew you had a side that could be a little, I don't want to get on the bad side of it, girl. So maybe that's what it is.
I'm getting told that a lot,
No.
and I don't know why. I honestly do
jokes.
not know why. I feel like I'm a very open-minded. I'm open-minded. You've helped me improve my casting over the years, so I don't say that.
That is really funny because, one of the nicest people in the world. We had a chance while we're waiting for this game. We're just remaking the game just again. We had a chance to meet in person at TwitchCon. It's funny, girl's actually 6'2". You wouldn't know
Quite
it.
taller than Rain Day, for
Quite
sure. We've even
taller.
got photo evidence.
Yeah, you haven't shown that photo. I appreciate it because that would have ruined my whole rep online, and people would really just see the height difference.
I could tell you didn't want me to expose you like that, so
I didn't want to get
being
exposed.
the person I am, but you just exposed yourself. Why
Listen,
would you do that?
when I actually met girl, she was standing on an elevated platform above the plebs.
That's very true.
And she's just standing there, like, hey, like this is my
let's
throne.
take a selfie.
This is my throne. Like this is where I belong. Just like a head taller than everyone else, and people looking up to me. And I thought, okay, I got it. That makes sense, And I never messed with her since. At that point, I knew she meant business, and girls kind of like royalty incarnate here, and especially in the Apex world. So, I try to stay on her good side. But at the end of the day, maybe that's what your coaching problems were. Maybe not. But I do think, though, we bring up, jokes aside, a pretty good point about like how it is important to have that third-party point of view, right?
Yeah.
Girl? I mean, just having someone who can give you like a different lens than what you have in the thick of things.
There's a bit of a balance needed because you don't want to overthink situations, and you also want to be open-minded about situations. So sometimes it's just a matter of fact that you miss your shots. Like, it was a good play, you miss your shots, your teammate missed their shots. If you actually hit those shots, you would have ended up winning. And sometimes you can't really work around that. But if it was a strategy fault, then you could go back, look at it, have someone else with a different perspective. Like, not even only gaming, in life, having someone with a different perspective can just enhance the moment or situation a lot. So that's the great thing about being a live streamer is I got, a few hundred people watching that aren't afraid to tell me something. But
But
it's good to have a coach.
What's great about that too, and it's nothing against live streaming and our viewers. We love the viewers. We love people in the chat watching as well. And it also it is like, and sometimes there's a disconnect between the process that it takes to be on your side of things, right? And I think these great coaches tend to come from the competitive side. They tend to have been there, done it. And, kind of who I see as the best coaches always, and I know this kind of from a soccer thing as well, because I was, there were some strengths I had that were incredible strengths. I had a great mind for the game. There were some weaknesses I had too. But I knew the game well enough to where I knew some players who were so gifted, they couldn't speak to worse players because what they did naturally was so much more advanced than a beginner could even comprehend. Like, the way that they move, the way they think, it's like, they're saying, why don't you just, just put in the hours. It's like, your hours are going to be worth, 1,000 times more than this player's hours until they get these fundamentals that you're doing naturally down. And that's where, I want to encourage people playing, people on the broadcast. And like, as we've gone into a little bit of almost like a podcast here as our game's getting ready for game 2, about this. Coaches coming from the competitive side of things, sometimes the best coach isn't the Hals, even though I gotta love my Hal, you gotta love these great players. It's these kind of in-between players who are good players, not the best by themselves, but also they understand the game so well, and they can bridge the gap between what you're not doing and what they can do, and then what you should be aiming for, which they can understand, but they don't have the natural talent to do like you do as a player. So.
Yeah, someone with those like analytical skills that have played with the best players, but aren't competing at the highest level. I definitely agree with that. Like, sometimes when you play, your team is all on the same page without having to tell them, hey, don't overextend, or don't be standing still in the open, stuff like that, that most people already know just by playing a lot. And some people, they don't know that, so they could definitely use a coach to help them out there. But coaches at the highest level, they can do wonders. They can give you strategies. They can tell you what other teams around you kind of have been doing in the past few weeks. So this is a strategy to cut them off in your next game. There's so much that they can show you about zone pulling or the fastest rotation or the fastest loop patterns. There's so much you could do to prepare for a tournament that I'm sure these teams have been doing. Let's take a look and see who has been contesting this game. Nobody went shipfall. Oh my goodness, we've already got a fight.
Oh baby. And it's Baguette. This is a very big fight as well. And with a longbow too from Taylor. Baguette already claiming one with Obelisk. Let's see if Taylor can hit a couple of nice shots there. Oh baby! Makes quick work of the Valkyrie who tried to challenge the best Valk in France, according to his Discord and his own claims. Since Season 9, when Valkyrie came out after bouncing around a few legends, Taylor told us yesterday that it has always been her. Once she came into my life, that was the only legend I played, and it certainly shows. We have been amazed and have marveled many times at some of the things Taylor has pulled off on one of the most meta champions in the game right now. And I'm excited to see what Baguette can continue to do, leading this tournament so far after one game.
Yeah, he's one of the players that I find the most confident when he goes into a room with 3 people in it just to see if he could get that one clip. But he also utilizes those jetpacks to get out really well. He knows exactly where his backup plan is every time and where he wants to fly. So definitely can see why he's named himself the best Valk in France. He does a great job at it. 5 Cats, though, they're also in a fight. Hard to track midair with R99. He's going in for the shots. His teammate goes down. Trying to get the trade off, but that Bangalore is just playing so incredibly well. That Z Stereo goes down. Rose goes down. I think it's a 2v1. White has got to play this correctly. He's got a purple armor. He's going to break down the door. Did he just get that one? Is Cheka left in a 1v1? Can't see the kill feed right now, but he's healing up. Cheka's holding that door. He's going to peek through the window. He's shooting at Cheka. Cheka's 50 HP. Can he do it? The knockdown shield goes up. The Volt comes out. He's going to go for the fire. He's going to go for it. He kills them all. Oh my God, the 1v2 situation clutched up. And that's Clippers, one of our strongest teams in the lobby, taken down by White Wool.
This is such a terrible spot to fight, girl. I feel like so many teams early game when they 50-50 that area specifically, it's just tough. It's tough for one team or the other, and you get these little maze fights, these labyrinth fights in and out of that room, up on the high ground, and I'm just, for me, if I was going to places like that over and over again, I would probably cut it out. This one, though, for TXC, seems like an unlosable fight. Just staring down at a seer. That'll be 1, and now use the numbers advantage, 3-2, to be able to clean this up. Very, very excited about that angle, Raymond, as he finds an easy clip to the back of the biggest character in Apex. 15% damage reduction won't help Gibraltar stay alive on that one.
Now you can see the pace of this game going a little bit faster than last game because everyone knows what the leaderboard looks like, so they know how much they need to catch up. They know what kind of risk they have to take. TXC done a great job in the past few weeks just contesting this area, and they have a lot of practice in it, so definitely a hard contest to take there. You got to look at that map. You got to look to see what's open because Shipfall's open. I believe Jurassic Park's open. There's definitely a couple other places you could loot instead of contesting, one of the best teams in the lobby. But, contesting isn't always bad in the big picture. You can get better. You can learn how to fight as a team. There's a lot you can do with a contest.
Let's be honest, though. Let's be honest. Is this the time that you want to be figuring that out? I mean, that's
no.
All right, because, big picture, no. Short term, this is one of those short-term conversations.
Yeah.
All right, well, hopefully they're watching. Most of these players actually turn around and watch this VOD, even though it's 10-minute delayed. Maybe it's going to be enough to hear this comment and switch it up, girl.
Take a look at Shipfall. It was open this game.
Yep.
Jurassic Park's not even that bad either. You could do the Prowlers. You get good armors because you do those Prowlers. You level up those armors. not too bad of a position, and you're mid-map, so you have the beacon scan, you can rotate fast. You could do with it. What's Shadow Point's doing over here in this dome? They looking to fly anytime soon? Nope. They're just going to traverse the map. Where is this zone pulling? It's pulling quite central. Oh no, we've got another fight.
All right.
Oh, this is We Don't Play.
This is a big moment for them. They've come through the muck of the mire to get here after losing in 12, game 1. That is not how they wanted to start. It's not how they're going to finish. Big drop off the Valkyrie. That'll get a kill, and it should be just cannon fodder there for the rest. We Don't Play, picking up a couple of much-needed kills to get themselves back in this lobby. AXFF team, though, they've been storming through whoever has gotten in their way on this map, and they continue to do so. Nice long-range beam there. Was that Dave? Did they finish that? No, almost. But what a play so far to get at least 2 of those kills and send the 3rd running. AXFF team looking strong as well, and We Don't Play actually right ahead of them, taking a Valkyrie ult, so that will delay what would have been a very important fight and engagement between those 2 teams.
I wonder what they're doing in the zone. A lot of these good teams are still taking zone damage, and you often see that in professional play. It's not too hard to play the zone as long as you've got the meds. So Perry's going to heal up. They've got a respawn beacon too, and I'm going to teach everyone watching a little trick. You always give the respawn beacon to the Crypto, because the Crypto is the one that can res the fastest, and he recovers the banners. So good on Perry for crafting that respawn beacon for his team as well, because they're so aggressive, and sometimes one of them does go down.
Oh my God, yeah, and that is one of the benefits I think that we've seen keeping Baguette, involved too. Just when you're playing a Crypto, that concept of you have a second chance. We saw this with the Ultimate Lovers trio, right? Having that Crypto and Bangalore play together meant that even when there was this kind of downtrodden moment where maybe they lost the Bangalore, the Crypto could have such an easier time recovering that banner as a solo, getting that Bangalore back up, and then causing havoc with that 3rd member of their team, which we often like to call the Trident, who really presented the biggest challenge and the most unique style of their play. If you don't know what we're talking about, check out Season 1 of the Master Circuit and check out the Ultimate Lovers trio. It has been such a phenomenally fun time watching them play. And, there's just a really good showcase of, if you're in your games, why there's value to a Crypto. It's an underplayed character. It is a underrepresented character for, I think, the ability of what this character can do at high level, girl. And
yeah.
I'm not sure if it's going to change. Some characters are just destined for that fate, but certainly Crypto can do a lot for a team that's coordinated around it.
No, and we see a lot of our best teams that do run Crypto. You don't need Crypto, but it is hard to figure out what you can do, how you can risk it. Your teammates have to be independently strong too, because Crypto does sometimes fall far behind. Oh my goodness, these shots are just incredible. Vibecats, they're a very strong team together. 500 damage, very nice shots with the nade as well to secure the knock. But there are a lot of teams around. I don't know if you want to stay in a fight right here, because you are going to end up getting pinched. There's about 4 teams rotating towards this angle. Vibecats is going to have to try and stay alive, find a secure area. The shots are coming through with the Hemlock. It's doing damage, 60 damage on blue. Rosé is going to pop that last shield battery that they have. But this is looking scary. There are so many people that have huddled up. It's like a big party going on here near Cascade Falls. One wrong turn and you could be dead.
Well, that's not a good come visit this area motto. I don't think that would work on an advertisement. But these players know what they're getting into for sure. We Don't Play. Following in with the car. Oh, but that is going to be tough for Rom Plays. It's Mr. Namka and Rom Plays. They're in trouble. Focus of attention. I'm not sure it hit. I don't think it did. And Mr. Namka barely just trying to get out alive with this one. It is last Dave and AXFF team, the Festi, Last Arrows, and Dave finally doing what they came to do, taking control of this lobby and eliminating We Don't Play. This is a disastrous start for what has been one of our most successful teams in EU. And if they don't get it together quickly, it is going to be too late.
All right, Vibecast, they're still all alive. Luckily, the other teams had fought before them, and they have been doing a great job just applying pressure and staying alive. The zone has come in, and they're going to need some medkits to survive this one. The zone's not going too far, though, just outside of Antenna, where they need to head. And I'm not quite sure if they do have Valkyrie ultimate, but I think they'll be okay with all of these death boxes to loot and look forward to. I think the zone's pulling all the way down to Gale Station, though, so in the big picture, they do have to travel quite far, but they did a great job. That's the thing about Stormpoint, and especially when people are all looking forward to getting some kill points into third party. If you're fighting for quite a long time, everyone's going to want a piece of that pie.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to make sure that you have an escape route, that you don't fight too long, that you're constantly having someone watch the flank. There's just so much that you can consider. You can even consider popping a Valk ult just so that you could see who is around you and rotate a little bit earlier than everyone else and kind of gatekeep them later on. There's so many ways you could go about it. But the Cats, they done well.
FMA Titans.
Ooh, double white.
Fighting an uphill battle here as well. Both their armor and the actual terrain, and that's just going to be broken. Popping the Bloodhound ultimate. You would hope that this might have given them a little bit more time and speed to relocate. It almost caused too much trouble, though, for Broken, as kind of stalls you just a little bit while you're popping into that increased speed, extended vision, and, of course, increased reset on your tactical ability, which gives you that vision as well. But, yeah, not working with a lot here, and it's going to be a interesting journey for FMA, even though they are where I think they would love to hold. Just to the northeast of them is a team that you may know, and it is Baguette, ESL, and FMA actually are making their way towards where at least Taylor and I believe a second member of that team at the very least is still there.
And Taylor was telling us on our episode of Dropping In, they play crypto because they feel like that they can win any fight with an EMP, and FMA's going to have to encounter that here shortly if Baguette LF do decide to take on this fight. There still are a few teams on the outer edge of the zone. You can play Antenna if you have a Valkyrie. Not a bad place to play. But Baguette LF, they're just standing there. Viper Squadron, few meds. He's only got one syringe. I think he's trying to get attachments and syringes from the Prowlers, but they've got to go. Time's running out. One med kit. He's going to have to pop it here soon and rotate in.
Round 4 about to begin as round 3 ends up closing. The changes to the circle have been a new introduction to Season 14, and we'll see what happens in Season 15. If that is the change that makes it back, whether it's a bit of an adjustment. They tend to adjust things like ranks. They tend to adjust things like circle changes pretty much during these big season updates, and of course that is right around the corner. All right, so stay tuned, get involved. These players certainly will be. And this goes right to what I was going to mention to you, girl, and you had just mentioned before. I think they got him out of the air.
Yeah, they did. That's
Anubis.
Anubis.
Oh, no! After seemingly getting away at the pinnacle, the climax of their hype before they started to soar, that is FMA out of there. And we had just kind of set that up with a teaser that FMA was running towards Baguette, and they ran towards all three, and it just ended up being their demise. But this is what I kind of wanted to, like, what? And for those, like, listening at home, it really strikes me as, like, obvious, but we're not saying it's obvious. Like, how can you lose a fight if you crypto EMP team and push them and then just start fighting? Like, I feel like that's, like, you can't, what could stop you from losing that fight? I'm not sure there's anything in the game, if you really have a good, clean fight after that, that should be able to stop a crypto EMP push. And it feels like that's just what Baguette keeps showing us here.
Yeah, so they did want to take the building. They didn't actually want to play on that hill, but they weren't able to push towards the buildings. If they had building coverage while they got EMP, they could potentially use doorways and use cover to kind of block Baguette off, but they were all in the open, so what can you do? Really nothing unless you have a defensive legend. So you could pop Dome after you get EMP'd, you could pop Newcastle Shield, something like that, but they unfortunately, they were playing Bloodhound, they're playing a more aggressive comp, and they ended up with 2 white armors in the end. You never, ever, ever, ever want to go into endgame with 2 white armors without like having a safe spot and some poke area to be able to poke with. So like a Watson with a longbow or something like that. In any case, you get unlucky, you have 2 white armors. A lot of professional players, they like to go inside Storm, they like to go in zone, and they like to craft. They'll craft themselves all blue if they need to. You definitely, 1 EMP took away 2 of their armors completely, and that was just an easy fight for Baguette.
Well, you know, that's all you need. A couple of those, and you start to swing yourself into momentum, and this is Abuchin finding themselves, sounds a little bit like Hadouken. You talk about Street Fighter, some girl you know a little bit about.
Yeah, we're going to have that Street Fighter PlayStation tournament coming up.
That's right.
We'll give you guys the schedule later on.
And one of us here has won a Street Fighter tournament. I'm not going to say who, but one of us
I'm not going to say who either. It's on YouTube, though.
One of us has, and it's not me. How about that?
And it could be me. But it was a very entry-level tournament, I must say.
Well, hey, this is the type of thing that you can have a chance at entering on compete.playstation.com. If you want to check out all of the ways that you can get involved competing. And, of course, that's how these players are here in a Final Four with a round just closing. Viper Squadron from the bottom. Started at the bottom. Now they're here, top 4. What does that mean? And, again, we talk about the crypto potential. And it's just tantalizing, isn't it? And you can see the focus of attention as well. Viper Squadron's having to go and withstand all of this mess. But Perry, Taylor, and Obelix on Baguette, they're just looking at the juiciest EMP I think you could ever have in competitive Apex. And if they go ahead and use that right now, it is going to be a crucial push. But they're waiting and biding their time, I think, as they should, girl. Because right now, these teams, they're just going to fight each other.
Exactly. 3 teams on top of each other while Baguette has the whole other end of the circle. They're just going to be able to chill, drink some tea, wait for the right moment. Oh, but it does look like Maddie's going for that rotate around towards them. Viper Squadron, they were in 20th place because they did end up losing their off-drop 50-50 contest last game. So it's really nice to see them here in our top 4. They're going to potentially be able to make our top 10. Depending on how many kills and placement they do get this game. All full squads, might I say. It's 4 squads with 12 players remaining. Oh, and Dominus has a massive... This could actually be huge. He's going to break the door. He's going to hit for 112. Oh, my God. Massive damage by Dominus. That was really a wonderful and smart play. He does a little bit more damage. Lloyd ends up going down from ASP. 4C going down as well, so they get the trade-off, but he's going to get the reload on the Massive. He's going to do massive damage if he hits these shots.
Nice shots.
And they get it. Sekeli is eliminated. Viper Squadron, hopefully they can get that reset. Doesn't look like they're getting pushed. The other teams are actually fighting right now.
Wow.
So they have the potential to win this. Taylor doing massive damage. They took out PMB in a clean manner, so now it's going to be a straight 3v3 fight. Wow, what is up with this? And both teams have Massive, I believe.
Twiggy trying to push this as well, sees the opportunity, and there certainly is one. Trying to have the high ground and keep the advantage there, but is the EMP ready? That would be the only conversation piece. I think that maybe change this dynamic. Other than that, it's just solid 3v3 fighting, and we love to see an endgame that's about how good are you when it comes down to a 3v3. Can you hit your shots? Perry in the drone, though, getting the vision, and that's going to make things harder. Missile Swarm as well as the exhibit comes out on the other side. And this will mean that Baguette cannot move freely without them knowing where they are, but it's a little bit too defensive, I think, and now that exhibit is kind of where they're playing outside of. And so what is going to happen here from the skies? Taylor rains down and finds a big kill, but it's traded back. Taylor has to carry more of the weight now. Oh, it certainly seems possible. It is a 1v2 of half health. Taylor finds one. Taylor finds 2, and look at this. It's just 1 shot left. Taylor claims it for Baguette like that. And truly, the best Valkyrie in France, maybe the best Valkyrie on PlayStation, takes the game win.
Incredible. They played that perfectly. They ended up winning a 3v3s back-to-back. They played it nice and slow. Taylor had that angle. Poor Obelix got pushed on and swung by all three members. Ended up going down, but his teammates, they ended up having his back, getting those retrades. And Taylor with that 1v2 finish. Woo! What a good game.
And just, it was so perfect, too. You can see it kind of set up because that was just like, I don't know if it was Perry or if it was Obelix who was pushing that left side, but both players just tunnel visioned on that one character. And
oh, that was Obelix.
Yeah. So what's interesting, too, is that the advantage truly with information then goes to those two players. I know that, yes, obviously, like, you know, Taylor has just as much health as they both do. But two players shooting at you is an unsolvable problem if they do it the right way, because you can't shoot at two places at once. They should essentially be able to have someone having a free line of sight shot at Taylor, and then someone obviously dealing with a 1v1 of Taylor. But Taylor just is so on point. The timing is so there. The communication is so clear. Baguette have been here. They've done it. And that shows the experience in moments like that to really keep the tide and the pressure in their favor for that team. And what a situation it ended up being for Taylor to clutch up that 1v2.
Yeah, it was quite hard, especially with no armor on the both of them, but they just had to play it a little bit slower. If they could find some cover so that Taylor didn't have free angles on them in both times, he just shot them. He just found them and shot them. If they could hide behind a wall, hide behind a knockdown shield, it could have been huge for them. Unfortunate, but they did make a second place, so valiant effort, and that's going to put them back on the leaderboard, so that's going to be great. AXFF here, what a great fight for them. They've been doing massive damage throughout this whole entire tournament.
And this is just a great showcase of Viper Squadron 2 coming back from the bottom, girl. What about that story, right? Like the ability to kind of bounce back. You don't often see that with teams, especially when they don't start well. But the ability to just take, you know, a negative situation, turn it into a positive, and have clear moments like this as a team. This was good team play. This was, you know, let me pop in here. You guys are going in now. Let's use our health, right? Let's use 125 of mine. I'll shield up now. Force you go use 200 of yours. I'm back up to 200 now. Twiggy, give us 100. And, you know, you don't have to have anyone go down if you fight it well. And I think they deserve to be in this position heading up against Baguette. Unfortunately, though, Taylor kills all three of them. One from the height. And then look, this is the moment right there. That person exposes themselves up above, and they don't push at the same time. And that really ends up being the difference for Taylor to be able to clean it up.
Yeah, he definitely had to play a little bit slower there behind that box instead of being out in the open and jumping all around. But maybe the team communication wasn't there. Look at this. Taylor with 10 kills. Absolutely dominating once again. Not quite 2,000 damage, but he tied up with Obelix this time. Obelix had 1,600 as well.
Yeah, that's a massive, massive game right here. One of the things, too, is, you know, I wish we could kind of see some of the... It's interesting, you know, in this type of a game, we've all been there, right, where you get 99 damage or you do something crucial that sets somebody up for a kill. I mean, Taylor, obviously, at that last moment, we got the POV. We know how important it was for Taylor to make those moments, but seeing the little moments that Obelix does to take the attention, the little moments that Perry does to kind of get involved when maybe playing from the back line more often, using that EMP, but then when he gets involved there with the damage, what did that damage do? All of it opening up for Taylor. And you can't say this enough, girl. I think just the fact that Taylor's doing this, but also IGLing as well, it's like pulling the strings and playing the song and coordinating the band. I mean, it's a lot to do. And Baguette clearly off to the races in a way that we haven't seen many teams get to it in a grand finals. Yeah,
wow. They won the first two games, and that puts them, oh my goodness, how many points is that ahead? So we've got over like 25 points. Yeah, we've got quite a bit of a gap between Baguette and AXFF. Oh, double. Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Then we've got PMB in third place. They've been very consistent. Viper Squadron going from 20th place to 4th place. DXC ended up dropping a bit early in that last game. I caught them around midway. Unfortunate for them. Clippers still in that top 6 scenario. They've got another 3 games left to play. We don't play though. What's going on with them? I guess they put themselves in a bad position last game. They felt like they needed to catch up, and that was a little bit detrimental to the team.
You know, it's a real problem when, you're just having so many great opportunities to, I guess in 2 games now, make your mark on the lobby. And it's just been one thing wrong and after the next. And it doesn't mean that they're not doing a lot of good things right up until that moment. But the critical moments, they're not having that flexibility, that resolve as a team to be able to push through. And other teams are showing up. You talk about resolve, you can't say anybody else but Viper Squadron to put themselves from a 0 to a 2nd place finish. So we'd love to see that from We Don't Play. I know Baguette doesn't want to see that from We Don't Play. Baguette trying to basically do what they didn't do last season, which is win and do so well in the regular season, but then also close it up, taking 1st place in the grand finals. And so far, they're on a route to do that. Will We Don't Play change the game? Well, we'll have to find out. But remember, check out compete.playstation.com to find out all of the tournament information, whether it's schedules of what we're broadcasting and when, or if you want to get involved and be the next Baguette or the next Viper Squadron of the PlayStation Tournament's Master Circuit, which is coming up for a Season 3. We're going to take a quick break. Girl and I will be right back for some more Grand Finals action after this. welcome back to our grand finals of our PlayStation Tournament's Master Circuit. Rain Day here with Girl. You can chat with us at Rain Day Gaming on Twitter. Go ahead and tweet me, and also tweet at Hey Girl on Twitter. Tell us what you're thinking about the show so far. Ask us some questions. We will try to bring up any of those tweets today on our broadcast. And maybe it's a meta conversation. Maybe it's a player that you liked. Go ahead and do it right now, and we'll try to bring it up. But also, here's the thing, Girl. We've had two really strong performances from Baguette, and we weren't sure how they were going to show up today, but it has clearly been they're on their business.
It is the Baguette Master Circuit show today because they are double ahead of our second place team. But that doesn't mean anyone should give up, because second place also wins PS5s. Each and every member on, say, AXFF, if they do end up getting second place overall, they all get PS5. So everyone's got to keep fighting. AXFF could end up in first. PMB could end up in first. We don't know. It's only been 2 out of 5 games so far.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But I definitely like, if you're a Baguettes fan, where things are going. In fact, everyone in our YouTube chat, our Twitch chat, on all channels, PlayStation, let us know who you're rooting for. We see it. We appreciate you in the chat. I want to make sure you guys know we are doing our thing. We've got the second broadcast, second part of this, of the teams on this broadcast, actually. 11th through 20th here. Hakeem's now in that 0-point position, but we know what Viper Squadron can do to turn around, which has been the second story of today. How we've seen Viper Squadron bounce back so well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's unfortunate, you get a bad start, but take after Viper Squadron and get back into that top 10 and see how far you can go from here. We're not even halfway through the series, and we've seen some incredible plays, including the Dominus of Valkyrie, using the missiles, hitting that door, pumping with the Massive for 112. You can learn a lot from watching this Master Circuit. I surely am.
And you need it. You need it the most.
I mean, I could use it, but I'm not competing anymore. So, just playing for fun, just trying to educate and do my best to create content. But, I still really enjoy watching a lot of great gameplay.
When I mess with you, Girl, you got to mess with me back. Otherwise, it just looks like
I'm you beat me in our 1v1 yesterday.
Oh,
live
I did.
On
That's
stream.
right.
I can't mess with you back. You're superior, and I give up. I do not want to get embarrassed another time live on stream. If you guys didn't catch that 1v1, go check it out on the Dropping In show from the VOD yesterday on PlayStation. It's not too far away. Rain Day ended up winning.
If only knives were a weapon in the game that everyone had to play with, and we all had to shoot each other in a straight line, that would be really. I mean, I think I would excel. I would do well. Unfortunately, there's a lot of other complicated elements that you and many other people have performed much better at consistently than I have. But doesn't mean that I can't be here talking about the good stuff with you all, ready to hop into game number 3 of our grand finals in EU, and that just means we've got 3 games left. We are approaching halfway through our tournament, and I would bet it all. If Baguette win this next game, they are going to be our grand finals champions.
Well, yeah, it would make sense if they won 3 out of 5 of our games. Most likely, unless another team pops off and kills the actual entire lobby, which is very
I didn't say it was a risky bet, Girl. I didn't say it was risky.
It wasn't a risky bet at all, Rain Day.
All right, what's your let's say
my take?
Your
second place?
Yeah, what's your kind of vision into the future of what might happen here? What's your hot take?
My hot take is Viper Squadron comes back from the ashes, underdog story.
Whoa.
Ends up taking second place, maybe, perhaps.
Wow.
I don't know. I just made that up.
I like it. I like the idea, and we'll have to wait. Girl thinking Viper Squadron can make it. Actually, I might agree with her there on that one too, especially since they have played so well here for the last little bit. Now game 3. It's almost like a clean slate. We know what happened in game 1. We know what happened in game 2. It's the turning point of the lobby. kind of one of those moments where, too, I can find that there's just almost maybe a feeling like from a viewer perspective, and I think sometimes as a caster perspective, I try to hit this more so for people watching at home. This is actually, I think, the most important game. This is the game that sets you up for that finale. It's kind of like the middle part feels like, you know, nothing exciting is happening now. We don't have that rush to the end. We don't know where things are squared out. We don't know what's like their max and their min, but this is that game that's it's all about the setup. It's all about, you know, it's like studying for an SAT or for a huge test. You know, it's that stuff in the middle where you're just memorizing things. You're doing the boring stuff in your room or at a library. But then, you know, when the test shows up, it gives you all that opportunity to really succeed. I feel like this is where RGB, teams like God Trio, teams like, you know, Viper Squadron, Hakeem's, who we're mentioning, down in zero place right now, 20th place with 0 points. This is their swing game. So I'd love to see them perform.
Well, we'll find out if they do. I don't know what is up with Down Beast, but 3 teams ended up landing there. No one ended up going Antenna and Jurassic Park this time around. The zone, I believe, is pulling north of Antenna, maybe towards No Name, towards Command Center. I don't know. Actually, really hard to tell. If you were to bet on where this zone ended, what would you say? Cascade Falls, Stormcatcher, Command?
Oh, this is the classic. I was waiting for this question. This is the question. Look at her laughing. This is the classic question. She asked it, has an idea, and then I say something, and she goes, "Nah, I think it's going to go here," and then it goes there. You know what I think it's going to go to, girl?
Yeah.
Stormcatcher.
Yeah, I'm thinking north of Cascade Falls, so we'll see.
Okay.
We will see.
All right. Oof.
Let us know in chat where you think it's going to go. Yeah, let us know in chat. Are you with Rainday? Are you with Girl? Or are you somewhere else, you know, south of Antenna, maybe somewhere along those lines? So let us know. Let's see and test your skills in chat to see if you can predict zones just as well as us.
You know, it's one of the. It's like, do you think people are very aware of zone, you know, prediction? Do you think that's something that people have, like, as much information as possible on, or is it kind of, does it feel like more of like a, oh, they're talking about this weird science again that I just can't possibly understand, and so I kind of zone out when I hear about it, because I've been in both shoes. I've been in both shoes, on the side of not understanding it and the side of understanding it.
So it just depends. Do you play the game often enough to know? Do you have that intuition where it's just like, I have an intuition where it's going to go Cascade? Do you watch a lot of competitive Apex Legends? Are you here in every Master Circuit qualifiers to see all of these zone pulls? Just depends on that kind of experience. Or are you a newer viewer and you're just starting to get good at the game and you're watching these professionals to get better yourself, or you want to support your friends and whatnot? Well, this is one way to support everyone, by watching the show and being here. It's one way. Twiggy, unfortunately, doesn't have any support, doesn't have any cover. He's going to get hit by the nades. He's going to get hit by the missiles. He's going to go up in the air. Is he going to get this shield cell off? No, he's not. He is in need of some support right now. Too bad chat can't help him. His teammates are going to be flying away. This is Viper Squadron, from last to top 5 to who knows what, if they can survive. This Dominus seems likely that he's going to survive, but I do not know about Forcey.
You know, this is a very different beginning and maybe story for Viper Squadron, who in Game 2 nearly took it all. But in Game 1, it's seeming similar. And so the last thing you'd hope for is Twiggy and Dominus and that squad to go back to where they began in Game 1 after such a great historic Game 2. It would almost deflate everything that happened in Game 2. And I just think that would be tough. But Abuchin going to just take the one. Twiggy, there's a chance to get that banner. And so I think they will do their best to now start facing their own team. Another thing about the zone is it's moving a lot faster now. So that run has to start getting made by them, especially with the distance of this map. And it might actually, with enough meds to the side of Viper Squadron, give them that space that they need to have Abuchin push forward and then come back and grab their banner for their teammate.
Yeah, it looks like they're on their way to grab the banner now. So I think it will be a successful banner grab. But take a look at this. Abuchin has found themselves another team to fight against. There's actually 3 teams around in this area. So this could be a very hectic and hard fight. They are in the high ground, though. They're taking angles on the hill. Very good with the 2x on the R301 so that they could just see a little more clear than anyone else. But it's tough. 2 or 3 teams right ahead of them on the way into zone. They might have to pop that Valk ult to get in safely.
We'll have to wait and see if Abuchin can hold on. But right now, holding isn't what they can do. They've got to push. And that's kind of the benefit of the team in front. Even though they were taking damage, they had the zone working with them. So they had a little bit of a half teammate there. And Abuchin knows it. However, the benefit of Abuchin and the character Valkyrie is that it doesn't really matter that much. They get to go ahead and skyward dive, make that huge displacement, that macro rotation I talk about, not the micro rotations of some of these other legends, even like a Pathfinder or a Horizon Ultimate, but really, really do the work of a balloon or something in that nature, a map element for Apex. It's shifted the way that they've played, and now you could see that, wow, Stormcatcher might have been the right call, girl. Look at that.
Turns out Rain Day was right, and you can find out if you were right in the chat. Keep your friends accountable to, you know, their wrongs and rights, and I gotta let Rain Day know. He knows how to predict better than I do.
Oh, my God. You don't need these permanent statements, girl. I was right this time. I've been wrong about all the other times possible, so... I'll take this one with grace. It just seems like maybe it's my day, you know, my 24 hours of wins against you. I think I won that match against you in the firing range about 24 hours ago, and so maybe this is just my 24 hours of luck. And so I'll take it. I don't often have it, you know, against the likes of your predictions, but I'll be happy to be a winner here.
Yeah, I'm happy for you, Rain Day.
Are you?
Yeah, the improvement. I mean, the 1v1 yesterday, that car spray, oh my goodness. The beginning of our training, 1v1s against each other, he was shooting the sky. And then when it was live streamed in front of thousands of people, he one-clips me. So I don't know. I think he's playing with his fish over here, but...
you know, there's so many things I like about that. There's a lot of layers. The one clip into the sky. Also playing with my fish, an adjustment from playing with my food. But how did you know I was feeling fish today? You kind of just predicted that. So maybe your predictive abilities are coming back, and maybe they just lapsed here for that one little moment. All of that information from More Shows PlayStation. Girl and I doing a lot of great PlayStation stuff, and that was dropping in yesterday. You can check that out. Our 1-hour live show we do monthly. And you do not want to miss the next episode because we'll have a whole new Masters circuit to talk about. And we will already know who won this tournament. But right now, the versions of us that exist in the world don't know who's going to win this tournament, and neither do you. And that's actually what's making this quite interesting, girl. What kind of narratives have you pulled in so far? We know Viper Squadron has kind of been up and down, and now maybe down again. We also know that Baguette has looked so fierce. But teams like We Don't Play have just... It's been interesting because we're not really watching them or seeing what's going on until they die. So it's hard to figure out what's not working for them. But clearly, they haven't figured it out.
Yeah, it's really was their positioning the game before this one. They just went to go third party and ended up being pinched themselves, being in the open with no place to go. That's kind of how it went last game. This game, I can see on my map here that they're making the southern rotation of the circle. Hakim's, we were talking about them earlier and how they're last place, and they might pull a Viper Squadron by coming up from the ashes in this tournament here. They've got a good spot. They've got the high ground. They have the buildings to play with. They have Caustic to hold down in case anyone ends up pushing them. I have some faith in them. They're playing really well this game.
Well, yeah, this is a pretty strong position for a Caustic team. Caustic fallen out of the meta in Apex quite profusely, and it's been a shift away from the bigger characters with the Fortify passive. Gibraltar, Caustic down, Newcastle up. However, in PlayStation, we're not really seeing that replicated here, although that is definitely what you would see in the ALGS and competitive side at large. Big shot there. And you can see Payne finishing off Zorbrak. That is tough. That noise is the noise of gunshots as Abuchin just trying to stay alive. It looks like it will not last long, though, unless that noise can make some crazy play to get out of this one. Hiding behind a rock. It's probably not big enough, and going into the storm, I guess the only chance here is that hopefully this storm doesn't hurt that much, but add some bullets onto that, and it is looking very, very difficult to survive. I think one big headshot or something should do it, but gonna go and grab a shield battery here and hit a med kit. Will he have time? That is the question. He's got to hit it now. I should be okay.
Yeah, he should be okay, and I really like that quick decision-making, that wit that he used. He heard them all running up the stairs, and he knew if he stayed any bit longer that they would end up finding him. They just jumped right downstairs and shooting him. But knowing that he could survive Zone 2 damage, sliding down immediately, that shows the true form of a really good player. So I really like to see that from him, and to be able to survive and maybe get banners later. We don't know. It's a really hard zone to play here because it's going to be all in the open soon enough after the zone closes. There's just going to be a bunch of rocks, a high ground and a low ground, and maybe a few walls. So it's going to be hard to make a recovery, make a respawn and get in. But if he's lucky, there won't be anyone gatekeeping.
No, there will not be, especially if luck is on their side. But that, of course, remains to be seen. And that often makes the biggest difference in these types of tournaments, where the smallest of moments can really make the biggest of differences in terms of where you place at the end of the day. We've got 16 squads left. We said it's Storm Catcher ending, and it certainly looks like it will be something like that. Yep. We have one more zone pull to see if it pulls much towards the building of Stormcatcher, or it'll pull towards the southern side of that. But all the while, Vibecats finding their vibe with a few Hemlock shots. Not a weapon I've been seeing too much lately of, but that doesn't mean it can't get the job done. Zai pushing on this. Find the kill easily, and that's We Don't Play Again. Wow. Well, I mean, I'm not sure there's much to say to that, girl.
Yeah, it's a bit, speechless. It's been a tough day for them. And as a team with so many expectations from them and from their teammates, and, the vibes could have been quite high and their expectations are quite high. And going in and losing a game after game, it's going to be quite hard on their mentals. And it's really hard to get back from them. We were talking about this earlier. You have to be physically prepared. You have to be mentally prepared. You might even need a coach to, help hype up in between games, because it's tough. It definitely is a tough day for We Don't Play. It might not be their day, but there are future tournaments to come to look forward to. So try and learn as much as you can from today. If you're not going to be able to make top 2, try and make top 10.
It's great, I think, to reset your sights and also try to say, this isn't over. And also, what can we do to be effective? Because maybe we're not informed to win this one today. And so it's not about that. It's about, hey, let's connect our next pass, or let's win this next fight. Let's make a good rotation here and just get into a building, right? And reach top 15, and then see what we can do from there. I always like to say to people watching, you don't realize when you're in top 10, you're one fight away from the final 5, right? Everybody takes a fight, top 5 left. So people kind of think, oh, top 10, there's still so much time till end game. No, that next fight is usually what determines if you're in a top 5 situation, have a chance to win the game. So, it's just getting to those places with confidence. And I think that's what We Don't Play are probably going to have to instill within themselves. If they can somehow grab a top 5 finish or something of that nature, it will be one of the bigger swing comebacks that we have seen in terms of a team starting slow. But I don't know, if you watched Twitch Rivals, if you watched what Hal and Sweet were able to put together with Reeds in terms of comeback potential, it is possible, especially when you have talented players on your team, to make that kind of miracle moment happen in games 4 and 5. But it's asking a lot for sure.
True, and you also have to have other miracle situations happen in your game. For example, if girls' team ends up getting a knock on house team, but then a girls' team gets Krabered in the exact same moment, then they have a good game, But anyways, we won't get into specifics now. We're just going to watch this game. RGB's in a very decent spot. They're still in zone. but they can potentially get pinched. There's so many people that would actually want to play this area right here because it's very commonly played a corner in this Stormcatcher game or map. But it's going to be tough. Maddie Fonzie's on the other side. Jazz and Cheka in one staircase. We've got Color Bucket, I believe, in the other north of them. So many teams around, but not enough place for them all. 11 squads left. We've got a lot of people trying to contest the low ground, but even more people trying to contest the high ground. Fights are going to ensue here. The zone's going to be pulling in. It's closing. Can RGB keep their position? Can they keep their feet on the ground and push off every other team? They do want to play this wall. They want to have cover from everyone else. They got line of sight. This G7 Scout, as I said, most popular weapon in our PlayStation Master Circuit. I feel like that I've been seeing quite often. Z-Stereo getting a knock as well. Baguette left. They're still in this. You said it. You said it earlier. 3 wins. They could win it all.
And this is the fight they got to win. They just actually Valkyrie Skyward dove into this situation, but it just doesn't look like Taylor can make it out. It's just not going to be enough. 5 Cats was eliminated on that one. Obelix actually, though, finds the kill. Taylor is dead, but now is it Obelix's turn to take matters into his own hands? It is! Obelix cleans it up. Gonna cast the mobile respawn beacon now to try to get Taylor back. There's not enough time to do this, though, because Crystal is trying to push, but it's just a solo. King Stefan holding behind that rock. Maybe Obelix and Perry can do enough pressure onto RGB to force them away from this respawn beacon and finally get Taylor back into this game. What a moment that would be. Going for the banner right now, girl. Gonna pick it up and now gonna cast that respawn. Wow.
Insta respawn. Crystal and Stefan were actually a duo. So once they got down and they got shot at, they decided to try and play life, stay up top. But if they did manage to come down, win that 2v2, they could have stole that respawn beacon. It's just a matter of what do you want to risk. Taking Baguette LF shouldn't be a priority for most of these teams because it would be a lot safer to fight for second place, to get as many points as you can and fight for that second place because it's more reachable. It's in your sights. It's in, you know. So it definitely smart by RGB to play life, stay alive. Let's take a look at these shots. We see the respawn come through. The shots just aren't connecting as well as they should be. Not going to be able to get a crack. But the thing is they're just going to try and push them away. Don't believe that Arc Star is going to hit. It's a little bit too far. But the shots are connecting all white. Now, has he not found an armor swap? Better than white, he just did a nice blue armor. And it's pulling all the way down towards them. So everyone that decides to play height will all have to slide down right now. It's a matter of who ends up dying first.
God Trio has just Tezer alive. And a grenade in Tezer's hand. They don't know he's there. And he's got enemies to the very left. Part of me thinks it's the right idea. You know, yeah, wait as long as you can. Part of me also thinks, though, throw that grenade to the left. I mean, I think you're going to be able to find a kill there for sure. And I don't know how much higher you're going to be able to survive as a trio. And look, they're just pushing now as well. Who's going to go down? Tezer finds the kill, but he doesn't find the squad wipe. It is actually Crystal who picks up Tezer, and God Trio will take 5th place. So it ended up being the perfect strategy, but it was a strategy. And now we get to see what AXFF can do against Baguette. RGB is eliminated now, so it's just 3. And it might just be a 1v1 there. And it seems like AXFF, like we've seen before, is going to get 2nd place. And who is going to get first? Well, I'll tell you what. It's the team who's gotten first now 3 times in a row in our PlayStation Tournament's Grand Finals. It's Baguette LF on top.
They could not be feeling any happier than they are now, winning more than half of the games today, feeling so secure, feeling like they've already won that first place. It's going to be hard for anyone to come back after that, and they played it so perfectly. We're talking about the respawn beacon earlier and how the crypto just insta-revives, and they done it. It's what happens when you're so aggressive. You win every fight, and then you can get that recovery. They did such a good job in winning every fight, staying alive, and securing themselves yet another win.
I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if 19 of these other teams, might just be like, hey man, can we just skip to Game 5? We already know what's going to happen. We already know what's going on. We don't have to play Game 4 here. What a performance! I mean, by Baguette, they're truly on their comeback tour, and they're talking their stuff, and that's the key to what they're really bringing to this table here, because they're saying, yeah, we've had the potential. Yeah, we messed up in Season 1. Yeah, we had to deal with that all Season 2, and we still performed. We still showed up. We still won the bi-weekly prizing that was there. We still played every tournament, or at least 3 out of the 4 tournaments. And then they ended up saying, this is our time to redo that moment that has haunted us. As an athlete, they say when you lose, the thing you want to do immediately, the second you lose, is get right back on the field and win. You just want to play one more time, one more game, and get that win. That's what Baguette paid the price for. But you know what? It's so sweet to watch them show the lobby what they can do. And Obelix popping off here with that solo play also.
I can relate a lot to what you just said. After losing a tournament, I feel like I can't go to bed unless I play ranked for another 5 hours and start winning a bunch of games. It's completely relatable. Losing, it hurts. Sometimes you do need a break just because, if your day is off, you need to just get that reset and whatnot. But right. I completely relate with that. Obelix, oh my goodness, 12 kills, 1,500 damage. Perry Terranez with that 600 damage, but that's the thing. He's always in the back lines. He's always making sure he has the cover for his teammates. If his teammates are going to hit every shot while they're in the front, how's he even going to be able to do damage? He's doing a great job at staying alive and assisting in every single fight. And then Taylor, the entry fragger, he's got half the damage of Obelix. Obelix just took his spot today and took the highlight of this game.
Isn't that incredible? The way they have bounced off each other. You usually see Taylor taking that role, but Taylor wasn't able to do it this time around. Yeah, there were some assists. Yeah, there was, half the damage, but the shot accuracy wasn't there. Taylor got downed in that last game fight, and we know who turned the tide. It was Obelix winning that fight, holding the rock, applying the pressure so that Perry could go get that banner, go ahead and cast that mobile respawn and get Taylor back in the fight as a 3-man squad, and then push to win that game over AXFF, who came second. It is such a good sign. It is such a breath of relief, and it is such a sign of a great team when one player doesn't have their good game, and because everybody has bad games, and then the other player steps up and fills that gap. 80 points now. It's getting harder and harder to double the score, but they are still almost doing it from AXFF. But a big shout out to teams like AXFF who are consistently finding themselves high in placement points. They have the second highest placement points, girl, and second highest eliminations. They're putting together a really good run in today's tournament. Right now, they're sitting on PS5s.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They started off really strong, and that honestly mattered a lot because that's where they got half of their points. But they've also been consistent with those placements, getting great positions. PMB also, again, in third place. They're staying in par, but they're not quite caught up yet. They need to do something a little bit different if they want to risk it for those PS5s here today. Vibecats as well. They're hitting every one of their shots. Rose mastering that Hemlock. I don't see the Hemlock very often, so I wanted to point that out. Doing a great job of that. Viper Squadron didn't quite have the best game last game, but there are still a couple more to go.
Yeah, it's looking dismal for some of the teams we thought might take control here, but in the same way, when you see the top of the lobby so separated, you do see that there's a chance at second. There's a chance at PS5s. There's a chance at, climbing that ranks into the top 5 with 2 good games, and that's what they still have left, a chance for 2 good games. Abuchin has been playing better and better. They've been consistently kind of thwarting teams like Viper Squadron. They made that tough earlier on. If they put together some strings of good games, they might find themselves in the top 8. It's really going to be up to these players, and that's where we get the chance to see them perform, and that's what I think makes live performance, live commentary, live gameplay so interesting, because it's a constantly unveiling story. You try to put out these seeds and these potential storylines, but the players are in charge. They're the writers, right? They really do give you the action with which to retell and cast. And I think that maybe there's at least my hope, a team who is in that 10th, 11th, or 9th position that is going to make a run and have a great game 4 or a great game 5 and jump themselves into some prizing they envision.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to perform at your utmost best when there are those few teams just absolutely rolling the lobby, because then you put yourself in a situation where you're triple blue, they're triple red. You're already at a huge disadvantage when you start that fight, so you can't quite showcase your skill. But since we're nearing the end of the tournament, you're going to start seeing people fall or take more risk, right? Which will leave some of those bottom 10 teams to go up in placement, potentially find entries for some kills for some third parties. Almost anything, exciting happens in the last couple games of a tournament. So I'm really excited to see that. Who snowballs and who falls down the cliff.
I'm feeling like there's going to be a serious, a serious moment either in game 4 or game 5 where someone throws it all to the wind and says, just take me. Let's see how it goes. I'm one with the river, and I'm flowing down whatever path it leads me. And I think that's going to actually create maybe a dynamic here that either prevents Baguette from pushing too far, or maybe allows a team like We Don't Play to capitalize off of that craziness. Because remember, it's not like they don't have the firepower. It's not like they don't have the ability to take number 1 in all these weeks. They were there for 4 weeks. They blew the lobby out in Europe. Baguette was there for 3 weeks. A lot of the teams like TXC and that they were there for 3 weeks. They didn't play the entire time. We Don't Play has the skill, even with good lobbies, to win these games. It's just a matter of what's the opening, what's the conversation. But it's kind of do or die right now. This is the time. They've got to pick it up.
If I were to guess for We Don't Play right now, the vibes just aren't there. The confidence that they normally have just isn't there because, the pressure's on. There's so much on the line. They're feeling a little bit guilty for how they've been playing or how they've been positioning themselves or where they put themselves in. So, the vibes aren't quite there. But like you said, anything happens in these last 2 games, which could open up a doorway. Now, if they start winning a third party, then that momentum arises. Then the cake finally decides to form, and you let that cake rest, and good things will happen. A lot of people will be happy, and they might end up making that top 10 situation.
Well, it is, of course, a tournament, which means you got to get it done within a set period of time. And if not, you're going to be hoping for next time. Baguette, LF, they had to wait. They didn't get it done last season. This season, the waiting is over. 3 games, 3 wins. Can they do it 4? Can they make it 5? If they won every single game, it would be an unprecedented moment in our PlayStation tournaments, and it's still our only 2nd season of this, with Season 3 coming around the corner, but it's a great time to make history, and no better lobby, I think, for that. To be the team to win Grand Finals and to win every game doing it, that would be something that would be very hard to replicate in PlayStation tournaments history, and I'm very, very excited for them to maybe pull that off. Let's see what we see in terms of the Legends girls. Anything stand out to you?
No, a few Pathfinders, a lot of Horizons, a lot of Valkyries, few Gibraltars. It's been a bit of a mix for Legends, but no outstanding new compositions that we haven't been seeing. So just going to be the same old, same old. You'll see some Bangalores, Valkyries, Seer, even in this region as well. How do you think about Seer? Has Seer been really affecting many of the team fights today?
No.
I know.
That's been weird, hasn't it? I mean, is it?
Yeah.
Is it just, I also see I don't know. What is that? I mean, for me, I'm looking at it and going, usually Seer is much more the focal point of how people are playing against it. But is this that period of time where Seer has lost some of the luster with which Seer kind of approached, entered into the meta, or people have gotten much more used to playing around Seer, and so the impact of, focus of attention exhibit, people are just countering it without really falling for the traps that those abilities naturally have players fall for? I don't know. It's a great question. What do you think?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not seeing too much teams utilize the scans. I feel like more people are utilizing the snowball effect of having a Horizon, going up into the air, ultimate, and the fight's over. Like, I feel like the fights are quite fast. That way, whether you have scans or you don't have scans, it doesn't really matter because it's who really ends up winning that gunfight or who gets caught off guard by the Horizon. I feel like Horizon has been the standard of really good teams playing today. I haven't seen Bloodhound pop off. I haven't seen Caustic pop off. It really is the Horizon, the Valkyrie, and whatever third you may have.
Well, here we go. Game number 4 here in our PlayStation tournaments. Masters Circuit. We have seen a dominant side of Baguette. One even more than we have seen before, even though we've always seen them be pretty dominant. As our circle drops, teams spread out all over the place, but Viper Squadron has kept pace with a couple of games. We'll see if their beginning of game number 4 can be a little bit different, as it's Crystal, King Stefan, and Color Bucket on top, one of our Pathfinder teams. We're threatening them on down Beast.
It's a tough 50-50 to play. There's so much verticality involved. That's why when you have a 50-50, having a Horizon is crucial. Twiggy on the Seer. I actually saw TSM Imperial Hal suggest if you're taking 50-50s, Bloodhound might be the play over Seer. That's just something I seen the other day. But to each their own. It's difficult. Having a Horizon's great, though, especially if you're contesting bins or something like that. Then you land a lot faster than any other legend. Definitely seen that come into play. Valkyrie with the high ground verticality, and we've got the Seer ultimate down. They're going to push up, but unknowingly, he goes up against a team on a head glitch. But Crystal ends up going down inside of the building. Unfortunate. Twiggy doing massive damage, 112. That was great damage. Twiggy actually died to the guy in the head glitch as well. That's Color Bucket doing massive damage, but he's put into a 2v1 situation, and they are rushing him as fast as they can. Dominus putting his back towards Color Bucket. That's not looking good for Dominus. Now it's a 1v1, and Forcey, he done it.
Uh-oh.
Is that
trying to get it? Might just be. I think Forcey needs maybe one more shot here. Still one left. Oh, my God. Why are we looking at Dominus here and not Forcey? Not understanding it, but they go down anyways. It's Viper Squadron who fall to King Stefan, Color Bucket, and the squad, who have now picked up 3 kills here. Big turnaround for them. As AXFF team, they find themselves in actually a pretty precarious spot here, getting pushed. Luckily, they have an R99 and a 30-30. Should be doing some damage mid-range and close. But they got to be careful because it seems like the team is getting really, really aggressive. And they don't have Last Dave.
They almost don't have Eros as well. This is not looking good for them. Eros down to 1 HP. FMA Titans all full purple armors right here. Eros goes down. Their last one's going to try and escape on the Trident. Can he escape, though? That's the question. No AXFF. It was eliminated today by FMA Titans. This is the one of the most contested POIs, I believe, in Pro League. Mill is such a great position to take those 50-50 fights just because you know that one team's going to take one side, one team's going to take the other side. Whoever has the best drop gets middle, and it was a tough fight indeed, but it happened. Sometimes you just get less loot than the other team, and that's just how it ends up playing out.
That is certainly it. And, you know, it's really unfortunate to get pushed in those types of situations because I think, you know, that's a team that really had been doing well. And you know, I kind of have a soft spot, you know, as a caster watching that performance. And it's unfortunate to see it go down. But this is what I was kind of mentioning, right? Like, AXFF team is a team that's been holding one of those top 5 spots pretty well. Viper Squadron is a team that held a top 2 spot. In 2 of the 3 games, we've seen those 2 teams have major impacts in spots that if they're not there, it opens the door up for We Don't Play to be there, right? Because maybe those are the teams that are kind of taking those spots away from We Don't Play where they have traditionally been able to have them. Now that they're out so early, because we've seen Color Bucket and Squad have such, you know, aggressive starts. We've seen FMA have more aggressive starts. Those 3 purples on all of them. And Last Dave not available in that fight. well, now maybe We Don't Play does have a little bit more runway to get to that finals, and they've already got 3 kills to their name. Is this the start of We Don't Play, and what could be their comeback in these last 2 games?
There's a good potential for it to come to life here in this game. They already had a great start, like you said. Double purples. What does the zone look like? We're going to see here in 8 seconds to see, do they get lucky with the zone? Because that could definitely play a big factor into their game right now. We have seen it pull downwards, could pull upwards. They're the only team near barometer. Ooh, this is actually a pretty interesting circle because you could go full circle over here all around the mountain. You could play south side, play a bridge. You could get pinched from west and east. This is going to play out very interestingly. There's a team doing the armory in that circle as well. I believe it's going to pull north of the mountain though, so they will have to work their way upwards.
Will be very, very interesting.
Yeah. As you can see though, there are so many teams on the northern end, and We Don't Play is one of the few on the southern end, so that might make it a little bit easier for them to have those rotations, to make those decisions, maybe get some secluded fights in as well. But here we see Clippers near the edge of the map fighting. It's not a place where you want to fight, just because you can get flanked from so many directions.
And there's so many teams there too.
Yeah.
It's just there's bad on bad. It's not really risking a third party. It's risking like a 7th party in this one because there are at least 4 teams bunched up near checkpoint, and they all got to go the same route. So somebody's going to have to shift it up, and it might just be RGB. Already a few kills to their name. Keeping an eye on our leaders. They're near command center, who are already making a kind of a later rotation. There's a solo behind them, but you know they kind of spotted out. That would be Perry, Oblix, and Taylor. So that's the team to mention on our northeast side. But now Clippers. Team's got a lot of potential. Finding Taxi 2G, fake Taxi 2G. And that has really helped maybe Clippers get a little bit of confidence here. Meanwhile, TXC on the bottom side of your map. So where Baguette is, kind of like on the the southern side of that, they are actually going to be making a rotation on the other side of the circle. So some serious big name teams kind of taking separate spots here. And right here, we are witnessing, just Oblix trying to get that team they've been gatekeeping for a while out from behind them and just clear their back. And it should be a very, very hard situation for the team that they are shooting at to get out of.
Yeah, it was actually good of them to allow the other team to revive and come out of the dropship, because that just nets them a few more kill points. Not that they needed the kill points, but it just is a very smart move to kind of get used to doing. But they are going to make that rotation on towards the zone now. That northern rotation. It's actually going to be quite difficult to play west of Cascades just because there's a lot of open area. I believe they're going to make their way towards Tezer, most likely. So poor Tezer. Tezer's always been ratting, and ratting in very good positions. Mm-hmm. It's just unfortunate that teams end up wanting those same positions that he always ends up getting.
It's like, yo, that's a great spot. Let's go. Oh, there's a guy here already. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Yeah, sometimes you got to be not the best rat. You got to be the second best rat, and that turns out to get you what you need, because God spots, great spots. A lot of these experienced pros, they already know. You start thinking like that. So it becomes how do you outthink someone who's thinking like you? And you try to stay a couple steps ahead. Unfortunate for Tezer. But
what would I not do? You know, I guess, is that what you're going to start thinking? What would I never, ever end up playing?
Where would I not play that could still be played, right? Like, what would I not think to play?
That a seer won't encounter as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's also sometimes it's a bit of luck, because, you know, sometimes you're in that spot, a team tries to go there, then they get shot, and they're, they get engaged in another fight, and, you end up keeping it. So there's no right answer, but, you do try to play those odds in your favor as much as you can, and that's the way these games are. Battle Royales, you're trying to limit the odds, you try to make them in your favor so that over the course of 5 games, you can come out right more so than wrong. And I think that's generally a good concept for people who, they make mistakes in games. It's all right, brush it off, but did you make the right play, as you were mentioning, girl? Was it the right play, but you just missed your shots? So, keep making that play and work on, some of the mechanics, or, is your strategy all wrong? And I think with Tezer, he's found some good God spots here, maybe just unlucky that a few teams have also been in positions to try to find those rat spots as well behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. Still 14 squads left. It's just a little bit surprising when there's only a couple games left. And the last one normally ends up dying out the fastest, but could end up dying out slow as well. Clippers, we've seen them really like to play near a checkpoint. I feel like the first game they've also been playing this exact same area. They play nice and aggressively, but the rotation seems to be hard for them continuously. So I'd like to see how they end up playing this one out. Do they net themselves some kills? But most importantly, do they end up inside the zone in a safe location? The rotation is half the work, especially when Valkyrie came into meta. Where do you land? Where's a safe place to go? How do you third party? There's just so much work into playing a Valkyrie, but oh my goodness, the 3v3 just came in out of nowhere. Clippers, Jazz doing so much work. They knocked 2. Fake Taxi 2G, White Wool, both end up going down. That leaves Clippers in a 2v1 situation. They're going to be running away as they are getting third partied. Unfortunate. Jazz ends up getting out way too late, but Cheka ends up surviving. This is Zone 3 about to close in 15 seconds. Perhaps the other teams start to run away and then they don't ban their camp. You can actually survive this zone if you have enough med kits and Phoenix kits to your availability. But take a look at this. This is 1v1.
Whoa! Almost got it. 1 or 2 bullets away. I'm surprised it did that much damage. It's just 26 health left. And Cheka is ready. RGB eliminated, and that gives a chance to Cheka and the squad of Clippers to make a moment here. Mr. Namka, we don't play, still alive. 4 kills to the name for the squad, but is this the start of something beautiful, or is this the end? They have not really made it into top 10 for, I believe, nearly all 3 of these games. But if they just let TXC fight against Hakim's, if they just let a few other teams make moves when they don't have to, maybe that all starts to change. Hasn't been patience for We Don't Play that they've been missing. Just a slower pace to let some of the action unfold around them, not having to do it all. Well, you don't want to wait too long. You don't want to be too passive, because I know a team that's not going to be. That's Baguette, who are skyward diving now, finding a bit of respite behind the launcher on Storm Point. And I cannot, my goodness, talk about aim, especially on a PS4 controller from that distance. Taylor beaming headshots. Looking like me yesterday in our 1v1, girl.
Pretty much. Actually, I think you've done a little bit more damage, although the range is a little bit closer. Incredible shots by Taylor. Absolute beamer. And, he's getting his shots back on this game compared to last, but mostly every game he nets over 1,500 damage, which is incredible coming from them. We Don't Play. They're not too far away from the zone. We've got Baguette LF. They're still fighting a team from across. They do not have Valkyrie ultimate, so they do have to run with their legs and try and get themselves a bit closer to that zone. It's quite a hard rotation, especially with that other team looking over them. But I think that other team is making the rotation themselves. So Baguette LF, they're going to creep up behind and see if they can get some beams themselves. He should be able to see them running up that mountain. Not sure if he did. Doesn't look like he actually did. FMA Titans. Oh no, Sarah Sutcliffe with the charge rifle taking down Anubis. And that's a knock for TXC. It's nice to see them being able to get some kills. FMA, though, they're just not in a great position. They're getting shot by the entirety of this lobby. Versus the last one remaining. No dome left. 2 seconds, though. Maybe after this Phoenix kit, we could get a quick revive. Nope. Both of their teammates ended up getting thirsted. We're not even going to go for the banners? Oh, no. Going for a little rat position right here.
FMA Titans fighting their own personal Titans there to try to find their way into the top 5. Baguette have been there, done it, and they're trying to do it again. 4 in a row on the line. TXC with a flatline shot. Switch from that to the R9. Should have plenty of firepower here, and that's Raymond clutching it up. One more left around the corner. Hop, skip, jump, and a dive. It's not going to be enough. Koopy will fall. Raymond and TXC pick up the kill, putting 7 squads left on the table to fight for the remaining of the food. But Baguette are still alive as well, and they have come hungry. And they have also proven that they can eat a lot. Baguette fighting from the high ground, too. A really nice spot. No one pushing behind them, girls, so they will have, unfortunately not behind this rock, but they will have the high ground to play either the side of this rock and the rock in front of them and approach this final circle without anyone really contesting.
Yeah, and they don't have too far to go as it pulls a little bit up near them, near the respawn beacon. For now, they do have that rock in front of them, as you said. So they're going to be playing that soon enough as they realize no one is around them and contesting them. PMB, our third place team, very consistent team. So they're running Watson, Seer, and Valkyrie. They've been running it under the shadows there. They've always been rotating well, gaining good positions. And I'd like to see them win a 3v3 fight here in this top 6 scenario. They're looking to do some damage. The stuns are coming through, but they gotta be wary of the teams behind them. If you're standing there on the roof, almost anyone's gonna be able to get a line of sight on you. Perry does realize that. He's pulling out those pings. Where are we going to play? And pings are really important because you can see whether they're in or out of that next zone.
And that is kind of the biggest thing too. You know, you also can, there's a really nice trick, and I believe if you're standing outside of the zone and the zone is flashing, you will know that where the zone ends up, you are not inside it. And if the zone is not flashing as it's moving in, you're looking at it on your own map, you will see that you're actually not in the zone. One of those little tricks that, you know, pay attention to. Incredible designers there on Respawn. Looks like Pathfinder's still watching things from above. I guess it is true. We go to a better place when it's all over, and you watch over your loved ones. Look at that. Pathfinder watching over the Apex games. Again, LF. They are in such a good position. There's 4 squads left, girl, and it just rolls off the tongue too easily. Will this be the 3 squads in front of them so they can get their 4th win in a row in this grand finals? It certainly seems like it's possible, but guess who's here? Finally making an appearance. It's We Don't Play with 11 kills to their name. Namka, Rom Plays, and Carnova trying to do something that we thought could happen but didn't expect to happen.
And they're being so incredibly aggressive as well. Namka, although he goes down, Carnova stays alive, popping that shield battery. The ultimate's going to ensue here. They're actually going to get pinched by Baguette LF. They should not have messed with them prior. They're going to have to commit as fast as possible and try and get that 3rd place rather than the 4th. We Don't Play was eliminated. They actually end up in 4th place. They did not push hard enough or fast enough. So that's PMB luckily staying alive, getting those armor swaps. Baguette left maintaining the high ground. This is crazy. Got Trio out of nowhere. Ends up dying. That's Tezer. Our solo rat ends up going down. Now it's a 3v3 situation once again. PMB versus Baguette LF.
Woo, and this is it, that drone EMP push. What will it do? PMB have a chance to stop history from happening. They've got the Watson generator. It actually wasn't enough. And you can see Taylor taking out Israel. Baguettes! 4 times in a row. Are you kidding me? Wow. And they are putting the grand finals on notice. 1 more game and they win every single one. And certainly write themselves in the history books of Apex Legends PlayStation tournaments forever.
We got to give them a bonus for winning all 5 games if they do so, because wow, that was incredible. Especially that angle Taylor took on towards that team. He just came in from the back, no one saw him, and did a massive amount of damage. That was the cleanest 3v3 team wipe I believe I've ever seen.
And you know what? We talked about, can you win? Is there a way to win after a crypto EMP push? Again, we're not seeing the impact. And even then, didn't even destroy the generator, or maybe a new generator was put up right afterwards. Feels like maybe just still could have gotten more value off that EMP. They still won it. And you know, it's not just the EMP, it's the fact that after it, you've got Taylor, you've got Obelix, 2 people who have proven they can 1v2 pretty easily. Now just take 50 health off your name to start, and also make you a little stunned and, you know, slow your turning. I mean, it's just not going to happen against a squad like this. We're seeing it again. It's rare to see a team be this good, but what's even more rare is to see them execute efficiently and without missing a step each and every game that they play.
And from what I've been, from what I've been seeing from them is they like to play very slow in the beginning. And they like to find rats, they like to find edge zone fights, and they stay confident in every single thing they do. They look at these angles that they just end up finding incredible. But not only that, they end up in God's spot no matter how late that they rotate, which is absolutely incredible. They fight for it, and that's the thing. They win all of their fights with that EMP. What do you think other teams have to do to counter this team?
Get good. I mean, truly, though, it's really a matter of not just skill, because we talk about skill can only take you so far. It's the timing, and I think that's what Taylor, when we asked Taylor yesterday in our dropping in show, what was the difference? What makes it so well with, do so well with Crypto and with Obelix? And also, why are you worried about We Don't Play? What makes them special? The answer was the same. It wasn't that they were great players. It wasn't that Crypto's, no one knows how to play against Crypto. It was the timing. The timing of not only their efficiency and their working together, his IGLing and the way they play are off it, but also what We Don't Play can do when they work together, their timing. That's what makes a good team a great team. And you're seeing it here, Baguette almost calling their opponents out before their opponents can make a move and taking their strategy for themselves here in 4 of the 5 games for today.
It never failed them. It really never did. Winning every single game thus far. I really like to see for next season someone courageous enough to counter them, to really counter them, to be like, oh, you ended up pushing us? Unlucky. Woo! I don't know if that's going to require another Crypto. I don't know if that's going to require a Newcastle. Take a look at this leaderboard. Okay, so we've got 100. Yep. You were saying it earlier. It's hard to double up once it gets this far into the tournament, but they have done it. 107 points. AXFF, though, netting themselves second, but not too far ahead of PMB, who are in 3rd place. Now, for those of you at home that don't know, 1st and 2nd place net themselves PS5s. So continue to watch this very closely. We Don't Play. They caught up as well, Rain Day. They caught up as well.
They really did, and it's really all on the E-limbs. That's where they kind of jumped up, and what a performance from them. We were wondering, can you creep into that top 5? Certainly. I mean, if they put up another performance like that, they're going to take 2nd place away from AXFF team, and wouldn't that be a story? We Don't Play after 3, pop off in the last 2, and get themselves some PS5s and $1,200 in prizing. No one's taking 1st. It's not a surprise. If you're watching, I'm not spoiling anything. 1st is going to Baguette LF, and I think that's kind of well-deserved. 4 wins in a row. You can't say anything. But luckily, too, we've got teams that in the bottom are going to be fighting for this, going from, let's say, 4 points like Hakeem's, Shadow Points, GB. Goopy, God Trio, they're holding that 14 point. One big win, 110, 12 points. That actually is going to change many things in this bottom half as well of the bracket. So exciting stuff ahead in our final game coming up. Remember, you can get all of this information at compete.playstation.com, whether it's signing up for our tournaments and joining us in the Master Circuit next season, or it's just knowing when the schedule is for all of these events to watch Girl and I cast and have a good time with you on broadcast to enjoy your Friday or maybe your late Friday, maybe early Saturday if you're watching from other parts of the world. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, you know what it is. It's one game for all the marbles. Our grand finals, final game coming up after this. What a moment we've been having here in our grand finals of the Masters circuit here at PlayStation tournaments. Myself, Rande, and Girl have been watching a dominant performance from Baguette LF, taking 4 out of 4 games so far with only 1 game remaining. So it doesn't really beg the question of who will be winning this tournament, but it does beg the question of who's coming in second, as of course, the prizing still delivers top money for second place, $1,200 and PS5s for each of the members there. Who will be joining them, Girl? Well, these stats are giving us an idea of who has a chance here in this final game.
Yeah, so exactly. So 45 points for AXFF, PMB 39, We Don't Play 30. It still might be possible for TXC Clippers, but they would have to have really big games. Normally we see the last game die out quite fast with a spread around everything else. If no one ends up dying, that'll give a few teams chances to rise up at the end and just collect points, kind of like AXFF did on their first ever game today. God Trio, they're just trying to make that top 10 mark. Koopy as well, Deja Vu. Any one of these teams, if they net themselves a win, they make that top 10 mark. All right, it's not much of a difference. 10 points, 12 points, but let's take a look today of our overall elimination and damage leaders. Okay, so Obelix has been carrying the pack, only less than 100 damage over Taylor, but they have been dominating. What do you see here, Rande?
I mean, I just love that we have 2 of the, superstars of the team that's winning clearly leading the leaderboard, so that makes a lot of sense to me. Rounding it out, though, I mean, I love where 3 and 4 sit, and this is the battle we're going to be watching. Last Dave and Maddie Fonzie from PMB and AXFF, fighting for those places, right in between, right underneath where AXFF are sitting with 45 points, PMB with 39. And so Maddie Fonzie, Last Dave, who's going to have that better game today, because 5 eliminations now not only could shift them on the leaderboards for the day, but it could shift them on the prizing and in the PS5 conversation as well. So a lot to be determined. Really cool stats there. Thanks for the production squad showing that, putting that together, and giving you guys an idea of just how dominant Baguette LF have been over the course of today. And, will we see the same thing in North America later this afternoon, kind of looking towards that? I wouldn't expect it, but I do think that this has also been a long time coming, ever since Baguette reached Season 1 finals and couldn't finish the way that they were hoping for.
It's been an incredible day, and we still have a lot to come. We still have NA later on. Coming in from Stephanie in Discord, letting us know a little bit of a fun fact in the PlayStation Master Circuit today. We've got Horizon, Seer, and Valkyrie as our most played legend comp, where Valkyrie was picked 17 out of 20 teams. So Valkyrie is definitely heavily picked, and that is one of our strongest compositions here in the lobby today.
Yeah, I mean, it just, rotating is such a big part of the game, and if you don't have that traditional rotation, you just got to play very differently. One thing to notice, though, AXFF team running Seer, Gibraltar, and Horizon, so they're actually one of our teams that isn't using Valkyrie, so having themselves be in second place right now, hats off to them, and I think exciting moments to kind of consider the fact that maybe they are looking to slow things down, looking to, really control the space that they're playing, and that's what a Gibraltar will help them do, especially in that final circle. So we'll see if they can do it and hold second, which would be a big, big win for them.
Actually surprised they're going down Beast again, whereas they did end up losing that 50-50 contest earlier on. But I don't think they're getting contested this game. So mad respect to all the players here in this lobby. It's going to be spread out a little bit more. We've got Wall uncontested. Look at where Taylor and Obelix landed. Wait, why?
Trying to locate them on my map here, Girl.
It's above Command Center, so they didn't go Lightning Rod.
Oh, okay.
They didn't go Thunder Watch. They went on the high ground where the spiders are, which doesn't net them much loot at all. Being one of the winningest teams here today, it's quite odd to see them land somewhere else. Maybe they really want to see themselves win 5 out of 5 and they don't want to risk an off-drop contest.
That makes a lot of sense to me. And you can see them also here, you know, obviously on 2 whites, not too much, but there's a team nearby as well. So playing this one carefully, and they've got the rotation. Maybe that's a part of it, part of the strategy here. I'll have to follow along. I'm curious to see kind of what their decision is, because obviously this is a team that has been doing it all right. So as they go and make their way, there's another team very close by. My Life as the Bilka and his squad all nearby, I believe, sharing the second side of Command Center. And yep, they are going to use these gravity cannons for a rotation. Perry going to do a little scouting as the body flies and the drone stays. And now they are at Stormcatcher, but they're going to run into another team here. Azael, TVRC. I'm wondering if they're going to take this fight as Baguette. A little bit of a vagabond approach for walking from area to area, exploring for the start of their final game.
That's not going to be good for PMB. They're actually quite split as a squad. Matty Fonzie all the way south. Perry kind of northeast. And Israel, they're in the middle. He doesn't get caught out, though, so that's important. And Baguette LF, they're just going to slide their way down. But Matty Fonzie is something to worry about now because they're all going down towards him.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult. And, you know, this is the player that we were talking about for PMB that's 4th in damage numbers, and they really need to be supported here if they want to take AXFF over. And losing your biggest damage dealer is going to be difficult. But Matty looks like might just be skirting to the right as Obelix and Perry and Taylor seem to be on a mission, girl. They seem to be going somewhere specifically. And maybe it's Launchpad, but it's certainly whatever their rotation is giving Matty enough time to get a little bit more connected with Azriel and the rest of PMB.
Yeah, and there is a fight here. Viper Squadron. Going to be in the 3v3 against a Gibby and a Dome. They're going to fly right on top of him, try and go for that stun. Does the stun connect? It doesn't, but the shots do connect from his teammates. So Yahi goes down. Flatline shots coming through. They take down 2 at ease. Viper Squadron just looking for that last remaining player to clean this one up.
19 total points for Viper Squadron, so that puts them at 9th. Jumping up just a few points there with 3. That would actually jump them into 8th if things held at that moment. So Viper Squadron, every point certainly matters. A big game, say a 20-point game, something like that, in that range, that would actually put them in a position right now to be tied for 3rd if all things remained equal. But of course, you got to expect these points, they're not just where you are now. It's considering the fact that all these other teams are also getting points. So you got to be careful to not get too excited and do everything you can to get as many points as possible and never let your foot off the gas here in these final games where it all comes down to this. So hunting down that final player. Oh, this is TXC, who's in 5th place. That is tough to lose Raymond there. Pretty much their main fragger off of Baguette.
Yeah, they lost 2, and Sarah actually might encounter Tezer right now and Tezer's squad, so Sarah might actually be in the pickle. If you guys didn't watch the very first episode of the Masters Circuit, Sarah ended up pulling a 1v3 clutch here back in the day. There's a really nice clip of that in Launchpad, but that's it.
That's
TXC
true.
Was eliminated, so doesn't stand for today. They are not going to make the top 2 officially. God Trio, oh my goodness, the zone's coming in. They've got to heal up. I don't know how much that they have. Shadow Points was eliminated. Tezer taking down Alex. Baguette LF constantly on the edge of zone looking for kills. And this is how they do it right here. Obelix going up into the air, tracking them, trying to connect those shots. Tezer goes down to 10. They've got to run. They've got to run fast because Taylor is on the way with the Spitfire. He takes down one. Obelix takes down another. There's just 1 left remaining.
That'll be unfortunate for God Trio.
Or they're all out.
Yeah, put some good work in. Tezer doing some ratting. Will not crack the top 10. That's okay. Still prizing for all of our competitors today. That's kind of the benefit of making it here. You know, you've worked hard, you're rewarded. Whether it's the $150 going to our 17th through 20th place, or it's the $1,500 in PS5s going to our first place. Everybody gets a little something, and should encourage this game to be a spicy one. Round one closing up here. A few seconds left as 16 squads remain. 4 have hit the dirt so far. No lobbies to await, just spectating to see what happens. And as you all are at home watching, this is our first of 2 tournaments we're going to have today, culminating our grand finals and our master circuit here for season 2. It's been a great time casting with you all, and it's also been phenomenal to see you in the chat supporting all of the content we've been doing here at PlayStation tournaments over the course of this season. There's more to come, do not worry. And yet we keep somehow being surprised at what feels to be the recurring themes of excellence from some of these top teams who, yes, starting out in an amateur scene, an open play style tournament, you know, maybe don't have the highest expectations because they haven't proven themselves before. That's not the case for Baguette. These 3 players have proven themselves day in and day out every time they've been on camera, and that's just a sign of quality.
I really like this end zone because there's so many trenches that you can play near North Pad. There's only a few buildings that you can play, and you really got to fight for them because so many teams come and angle you out. Right now, half of the teams are outside of zone, not quite making their way there just yet. Just typical, which is normal. There's still 16 squads left, so it's actually a lot slower of a pace than I was expecting personally for the last game. But it's going well. Viper Squadron have good loot, a good rotation path. They might encounter a squad here in Cascade Falls, which has crafting. You don't want to get stuck on a crafting beacon and end up dying. That would be a horrible way to leave on this last game.
Viper Squadron with a nice gold on Twiggy. We got Obelix, Perry, and Terranez rotating on the outside, as they tend to do. Really smart team that kind of stays away from that center circle, and this is different than how we've seen some of the metas past played in Apex Legends. That's typically for a team that doesn't have this type of rotation, and early rotations, playing around Gibraltars, playing around Caustics, you know, it benefits that team who's going to sit inside, find that perfect building, and just hold and get a top 5 out of that and be a deadly threat in the top 5. But not this time around for a lot of these squads, especially on Storm Point. Maybe World's Edge. It's been adaptation amidst adaptation for these teams, but they've done a great job of it. Viper Squadron, though, the story for them is that they need a miracle. They need a game like We Don't Play just had, a 20-plus point game, to really do something that would make them say, wow, what a season, what a moment. Right now, sitting in 9th place, it's going to be a decision to make. Twiggy, do they leave Force? I say the answer is yes, because the person who just took them down is Obelix on Baguette, our leaders who have won 4 games in a row. I'm not sure they want to have this fight, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to abandon their horizon and hope that one day they can get them back.
Unfortunate. Around the same place that We Don't Play actually ended up dying in earlier, so you want to keep that in mind. Hey, this position here has netted everyone 100% deaths. Maybe we don't try and fight here midway through the game because there's so many people that rotate through that area. And there's no cover, right? They have to cross that river to get to the rocks, and it's not an easy cross to make. So unfortunate. It would have actually almost been a bright idea to push through the tunnel, the cave that they were contesting against. But even so, that's also just as dangerous. So maybe not try and fight there at all and just focus on your rotation because of the fact that that area is dangerous. But it's going to continue to pull north. We're gonna see a congested circle. Now there's not that many places or houses to house all 16 squads that are left remaining. So now we're going to see teams fall slowly but surely. Fake Taxi 2G takes the first hit.
White paid powder. Finishing that kill with the R301. Baguette, comfy, cozy, getting ready for the holidays. I bet they got their sweatpants on here. Big old hoodie. AC maybe maxing if you're in San Diego like me, where the heat will come in if you don't. Or if you're in maybe the East Coast or someplace in Europe, a lot colder. The hoodie and the sweats will do. Comfy as always, sitting in first place. No doubt that they're going to win. And not anybody to their back either. It's a great spot to be. Maybe a little bit better than Dominus and Viper Squadron, who at this point are being chased by Baguette pretty mercilessly. And Viper Squadron are going to continue to move away. As Mr. Namka, we don't play, finding a couple kills on the Crystal. So what does this mean here? Will we see a little bit of we don't play making their move? Only 9 points behind on third place from PMB, and only 15 points behind AXFF.
It's possible. It surely is. Namka getting the finish. Baguette left, getting a crack. Who are they pushing towards? Viper Squadron, I believe. So they're pushing towards the duo. The duo is actually getting pinched from the north end as well. It looks like they are going to end up going down. Dominus is out. It leaves it all up to Twiggy, who's going into the zone near another solo. He might actually end up living or getting into that 1v1. Twiggy starts to shoot. Twiggy ends up going down. That's the stereo taking him out. So Viper Squadron eliminated at 16th place. We still got 15 squads left alive. This is it. This is our final game, AXFF. Oh my goodness. They've got their eyes on someone down below. Here we go. Gibby jumping down.
Oh,
Getting
yeah.
a little stun. And they chase.
They see it. We don't play. Picking up King Stefan as well. Pay attention to that. Two teams vying for some big point changes here in our final game. But AXFF do not want to waste it all. This is a team that will probably stay second place if they could just stay alive. But it might be a bigger task than it seems. A nice focus of attention will highlight that Gibraltar. But how many teams are around? Not too many yet. Color Bucket on the far left. We don't play. Looking to finish that off in your top left corner too. Wow. Last Dave and AXFF try to push this team that has run into these tunnels near their end game. But will they run too far on the chase? Because they are about to run into We Don't Play. And they may not realize it, that this isn't the team they were chasing, but this is now the team they're going to have to deal with.
This is not going to be good for both of these teams, but here we go. Maybe if AXFF can eliminate We Don't Play, they just eliminate the chances of them stealing their second place. So this fight's going to mean a lot for AXFF. Are we going to throw the ulti? Yes, we are, because they are inside. He gets the knock on Namka. Now it's a 3v2 situation. He's going to try and heal. He's going to play this safe. His ultimate's doing massive amounts of damage. This is a great play by AXF. Taking the low ground, the Spangalore. Oh my goodness, she even had a gold revive. He's going to steal that gold revive for himself and the gold helmet as well. This is great for them, but take a look at this. Who is outside of their doorways? It's Baguette LF.
Oh my God, just when you thought you had a chance. At least they've taken down someone who was trying to contend with them. We Don't Play is eliminated. Last Dave, though, takes down Perry and takes down Obelix. You know someone could do it. It would be Taylor. But will Taylor be able to clutch enough? The best Valkyrie in France. But no, it is Last Dave who has the last laugh. And AXFF have taken down Baguette. They will not go 5 for 5. And AXFF might just secure their second place finish and their PS5s here, but it's gonna be up to Last Arrows. A punch, maybe, into it. Gibraltar goes down to the G7 scout. No, what? Oh my goodness. What a moment from AXFF to clutch it up. And you know, they didn't get the final win, girl, but they might have just cleaned up enough of the teams who could have challenged them to secure second.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find out how many teams in that top 5 era are still alive and up and running. There's only 7 squads remaining. Koopy, they're still in this. They might be able to make top 10 off this. They weren't already. They're doing a great job this game for 500 damage. Every time we see a Valkyrie ulti, Valkyrie ends up falling. And again, we see it. It's so incredibly hard to get a Valk ult off in these lobbies. Everyone has massive aim in these lobbies. What do you see?
Look at these kills, girl. Abuchin's in 10th place, right? They've got 15 points. Most of the middle of the pack going into 5th, though, has 25 points. 25 points puts you in 5th. They've got 8 kills, at least already. So if they win this game with 8 kills, they're looking at a 20-point game. Plus, Abuchin could make a jump from 10th all the way into maybe a top 4. That would be crazy if Abuchin could do this. But they're going to have to keep this up. And right now, if they have a little bit of a stabilizing moment here, that would be needed. But they're not going to get it from Julisterio finding the kill with the R301, or at least the immediate down. The other team to pay attention to, girl, you asked who's in the top 5 or top 6 that could make something happen. Since Abuchin is now eliminated, that dream will end maybe as a nightmare for them. But it is Clippers who are still here. I don't know how many kills they have. I don't know any of their stats. But they're a team who, 6th place, I believe, has the highest point total in this lobby so far. Might have a chance to make a move.
PNB's still alive. They were 3rd.
PNB still alive as well. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So this is massive, especially since AXFF did so well in that tunnel, taking down Baguette, taking down another team, but then obviously going down. They cannot extend their points anymore beyond, and PNB has a clear runway to maybe make things happen.
Yeah, I think PNB's the closest. Clippers right after that. Clippers don't have too many kills, so that's going to be good for all of their opponents there, shaking in their boots at home. But we are at 5 squads left, only 1 duo remaining. This is it. It's going to start closing in 20 seconds. We've got a scan in the back. Is it a full team? Is it a solo? The shots are coming through. It's a Valkyrie. That's all we know. Z-Stereo hitting some shots. It's always nice to have a seer in moments like these where you don't want to get backstabbed. Perry gets a knock. Maddie Fonzie gets a knock. Oh, they're racking up some kills. PNB. They're going crazy.
Might be the story here. 1 kill to PNB's name. They started out being 6 points behind AXFF. What is on the line for this, you may ask? PS5s, $1,200. Can they jump up and somehow do it? They'd have to take out most of the other teams in the lobby, and El Locos is one of them. An extra placement point for PNB. The dream is still alive, but they've got to do something here. Matty Fonzie, 4th place in terms of overall damage and kills. Can he do something great here on the Watson? One of the smallest hitbox characters in the game, but she takes that extra 5% damage. Won't be taking anything now as they run away and give ASP Lloyd a little bit of time to heal, girl.
Mad respect to Lloyd for pulling in the fuse in our final game as well. Vibecats eliminated. We're at our top 3 placements here. That's 7, 9, and 12 points for placement alone. This is going to be intense. Z-Stereo staying alive. Jazz fulling up to max HP. 3v3v2. Clippers have lost Cheka. Can they pull in this last game win? Well, you know who's not pulling in this last game win? Baguette LF. They won enough today. We're going to see a new winner here in our final game.
Clippers also in trouble because they only have 2, and they're not going to probably be able to get a mobile respawn here. 24 seconds, though, before the circle finally starts to close. And with these 3 squads left, the stakes are clear. Clippers trying to make a jump all the way from 6th into maybe 4th, beating We Don't Play and jumping into some excellent prizing. PNB maybe the most at stake here because they are trying to jump in to 2nd place, but they've got a lot of work to do. And in fact, I'm not sure anything, but a 1st place would give them the opportunity to catch AXFF, who had an incredible moment down below near this zone, finishing off Baguette, who tried to push on a 3rd party. Sikali holding this rock, playing the fuse with ASP Lloyd as well, a team that hasn't had the biggest of moments in our bottom 10, but with a big win here, a 1st place and a few kills like they already have, could certainly jump either into the top 10 or maybe even higher than that if they get all of these kills. So, girl, every team playing for more prizing, for stakes that continually raise, and somebody's got to make the move soon here because the final round is closing and we got a minute and a half left.
Well, all of the pressure is on Clippers right now. Azrael took down Z-Stereo. 1 member alive left on their team, but as they get the revive, but still, they're pinched in the corner. Even the Fuse ultimate is put on top of them. Sekeli wants the second place. They're going to go for it. They're going to try and get all of these thirsts. But as they move away from the rock, they're going to get pushed from behind. The shots are coming through. 31, Shiny taking down Maddie. This is crazy.
Sekeli trying to finish it off, and ASP Lloyd on the Fuse. Is it going to pay off? What type of explosions will we see in this final moment? Enough there to get the damage on Azrael, who starts to push, but it's Peril who takes down Lloyd, and you can see the Peril raining from above. Can they do it for PMB? 2, 3 more points. Make that 1 more point at it. No, it is Sekeli from below up to the top to win Game 5 and possibly move into the top 10 and claim that prizing they so desperately needed. Congratulations to Sekeli.
Imagine playing the Fuse in the last and final game. Not only do they push the duo, but they watch their flank and they end up winning the entire thing. They just took 3 points away from PMB from placement alone. But we got to note that Peril ended up getting a thirst right before he died. So he actually made sure that he got 1 more kill point. Was that kill point a defining factor in this tournament for potentially some PS5s, for some prize pool? We've yet to find out.
It is so tense here as we are going to watch these highlights and talk through some of the scenarios, because you're right, PMB, you know, we knew that they were going to get a little bit of an advantage against AXFF by lasting longer. Being second place, having Clippers go down, that's an extra 2 points. They get the extra thirst. It's 10 points that they might have above AXFF, who went down, I would say, with about 15 squads, maybe, no, 10 squads left, it looks like here, because I think they finish off 1, then they go down next. What that ends up doing, though, is only giving them a couple of points, and so they've kind of given themselves now the conversation of how many kills did we get. And looking at Dave and Festi and Eros here, they probably got 4 kills max, I would say, because they finish Baguette. I don't think they get another kill off of that. And I think that that means that it's really possible PMB did just enough to push back AXFF. I mean, it really is going to come down to almost how many kills this team had. I think it was 4.
Incredible. I don't know. Your math is going to be better than mine in terms of all these statistics here today, but I am just dying to know who ended up placing second place. Not most tournaments, you're dying to know who got second instead of first, but we know Baguette LF has secured first. They done enough. They won 4 out of 5 games, but who ended up taking second? Oh, here are the stats. Lloyd popping off with over 1,000 damage. Sekeli with 1,300 on Gibraltar. And 859 goes to Atsutsuk. So wonderfully played by them.
You wonder if they're counting that Fuse knuckle cluster within the accuracy there on that stat, because I'm wondering how 60% is even possible. That's pretty impressive. Hitting more than you're missing. We'll just give it to you, Lloyd. You guys played really, really well, and don't want to take anything away from that unless I know, but phenomenal stats, phenomenal experience, and also just the fact that you're playing Fuse. Hats off. It's a character that I think is sat right under the meta with the potential to be in the meta, just hasn't been favored, but we've seen Zeratricky pull it off, and it's definitely a strong pick. But that doesn't mean that we have the answers that we're looking for. We know their stats, we know the accuracy, and we know Baguette LF will be your winners, and we will congratulate them. But right now, we are waiting with bated breath on who took second place. Did PMB do enough to pass AXFF team, who had 6 points in the lead? We don't know yet, but we know that the top 10 does not, the bottom 10 does not include Sekeli, girls. So they have, at least with that win, pushed themselves into some serious prizing. And it is PMB who have done enough with 2 extra points. My goodness, anything that could have happened would have changed that. If they had not gotten second place and only gotten third, it wouldn't have been a clear win. If they hadn't gotten the thirst, that also might have changed things. But PMB, as we see it, have taken over, and they will get PS5s after that performance.
Congratulations, felicitacion to everybody that has played today. Baguette LF picking up first place, PMB picking up second. Very consistent team. AXFF, unfortunate that they got pushed by the #1 team, and they won that push. They actually ended up beating Baguette LF. They put them down quick, but unfortunately they got third-partied. So it's ought to feel really hard right now being AXFF. Show them some love in the chat. Show everyone some love in the chat that's competed here today. Congratulations to everyone that's played. We don't play, picking up 4th place even after such a bad start.
Yeah.
A lot of potential within all of these players.
Yeah, and you could have seen, too, like, it could have gone a different way. Like, if they didn't pick it up in games 4 and 5, they certainly could have been a team that was claiming 2nd place or, you know, vying for 1st. But Baguette, you know, what do you do when you want to win? You don't let your opponents have a chance. And that's what Baguette did. From the Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, and Game 4, they made it clear they were going home. There was not a thing the rest of this lobby could do, and that is the sign of a champion. And they certainly deserved it. From the depths of despair, losing out in Season 1, Baguette LF have come back to claim the championship in our Season 2 of the Masters Circuit. A huge congratulations to Obelix, Perry, and Taylor. Good stuff, guys. And, of course, that leads us to what's next, girl? What do we have upcoming? Well, we've got our Apex Legends Masters Circuit final for North America in just a couple hours. Stay tuned for that. Grab some lunch like we will and get back ready to watch some more Apex with Girl and I. Dragon Ball Fighters Fight Nights coming on Monday, 6 p.m. PT, October 24th. And then, of course, Fight Nights for Street Fighter Champion Edition, Street Fighter 5. That's October 26th at 6. Fortnite Fan Cup, next day, 10 a.m. PT in the morning. Wake up, or in Europe, get ready for a good afternoon. Tekken 7 Fight Nights the day after that on October 28th, right before big Halloween weekend at 9 p.m. Pacific time. And then, of course, November 6th, kicking off PlayStation Tournaments Cups for that. We've got our Fan Cup final of Rainbow Six Siege, November 6th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Girl, before we close out, thoughts on the day and great EU tournament.
A wonderful day overall. If you've enjoyed the tournaments and the competitive nature at home, make sure you sign up and play with us and allow us to cast your beautiful performances. And if you like watching, make sure you click the follow or subscribe button, whether you're on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and continue to watch some amazing performances in the future. We love to have you here. Good job to everyone that competed today. Good job to the broadcast team. I think everyone did well today.
Yeah, thank you so much to everybody involved behind the scenes, the crew, you as well, girl. Always a pleasure. We got one more coming up also, and PlayStation for helping us to put this on. Check out compete.playstation.com to go figure out when you need to show up for our broadcast later this afternoon or participate in the next Master Circuit if you are from EU or NA. That's going to do it for this show. Congratulations to Baguette LF. You did it, but can you do it next season? We'll find out. But for now, never give up, never stop gaming. We'll see you in just a bit.
PlayStation